pose an existential threat to its population of about 11,000 people who live on 9 tiny islands. A new visa will allow a small number of islanders, around 300, to move to Australia each year. A new agreement also establishes Australia as Tuvalu's main security partner. While most Pacific Island countries have formal diplomatic relations with China, Tuvalu recognises Taiwan. Canberra is increasingly wary of Beijing's ambitions in the region.
Recapping a top story, former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC John Block has been granted parole and has been released. Block was sentenced to 15 years for corruption and money laundering in 2016. For SAFM News, I am Luyanda Maume. Headlines at 3:30.
In your sports this hour, Afghanistan dismissed for 244 after winning the toss and electing to bat first against South Africa. Donald to quit Bangladesh post after Cricket World Cup, and 3 new youngsters in for Bafana 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. More details at 3:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
So Sharon at office was telling me the way drip is so expensive these days. She's now waiting for her old clothes to come back into fashion. I say, Joza, while you're waiting, why not let your money do the things in a Nedbank Just Invest account where you can get your money after 24 hours notice? Oganchani voiceman.
Injalo, Mabel. Earn up to 9% interest. Anyone can open an investment account via the Money app in under 2 minutes. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's on the interest rates apply.
The first leg of the final between the Red Devils and Masandawana is done and dusted, but there are still 90 minutes to decide who will be crowned the champions of Africa. The Casablanca outfit want to shut down Mzansi's capital city, but Kabuyelo believe their carpet football will humble their opponents. Witness the African Football League second leg final, Mamelodi Sundowns versus Wydad Athletic Club on Sunday, 12 November, live on SABC1 at 2:30 p.m. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Beyond the headline on SAFM. Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Hello, welcome to the show. John in for Eldrin. Today it is Beyond the Headline. Interwebs, and we're live on your radio. We're on the satellites as well. Welcome to it. It's a busy show today for a Friday. The last hour, as always, is going to be chill. And I don't know if you heard my preview of this, but it's kind of like, where do your friends go when you're in trouble? Eh? When you need help, where do they go? They're all very happy to be with you in the best of times. What about the worst of times? Our guest, and she's going to be live in studio, Zanele Myakale, is Nestrum. She gained popularity as the Abashante Group, a Jam Alley presenter. She worked for Lesedi FM, one of our sister stations here at the SABC. And we're going to talk to Zanele. When you feel lonely, when you're sitting at home and you're quiet, have you got somebody that you can phone? Straight away, you go, I'm just feeling a little down. I just want to get on the phone and say, how's it? Have you got that person? That's not your person, if that makes sense, right? It's a friend. You might have your person, but even then, sometimes you don't want to talk to your person when you're in one of those moods. So that's coming up after 5 o'clock. It's our the bonding session. We're going to bond over a little bit of sadness, but maybe happiness as well. If you've got one of those friends, share it, and they can become our friends as well. Friends are hard to come by. Right at the top of the show, soon, we're going to be talking about President Cyril Ramaphosa, who has outlined the efforts to combat corruption. Now, after a 2-day National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council dialogue, part of that will be, do we pay whistleblowers a percentage of recovered funds? The Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has suggested that that's a good idea. But we're going to talk about why everything just moves so slowly. Is President Cyril Ramaphosa the right person to talk about combating corruption? We're going to ask you that as well. Get your views on that. Then, did you know, officially, there are more than 8 billion people on the planet. We've just crossed over that number, 8 billion. When I was young, it was less than 7 billion. We were going to reach the 7 billion mark. Well, we're over 8 billion now. And it's not because people are having too many babies. There's another reason why we have so many people on the planet, and it's an interesting one. We're going to talk to the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure. It's a bit of a road trip out to London. is talking to global investors there about South Africa's economic resilience despite numerous challenges that our country faces. So we will talk to the minister and find out exactly what he has been saying. The global investors have been grilling on the triple BEE policies. He went out on a limb to salvage SA's investor confidence despite reservations around bureaucracy, corruption, and the energy crisis as well. So we'll see what he has to say about that. Then our good news story. When was it? Monday, Tuesday. We spoke about libraries. I think it was Tuesday. It was Monday. Wow. Okay. Feels like just the other day. We spoke about libraries, and the Joburg Library just recently closed. And while I was in conversation with my guest at the time, Charlie Molepo, who is the president-elect of Library and Information Association of South Africa, while I was talking to him, we were talking about libraries and the closure of libraries and things. And then right at the end of the conversation, Charlie said the most important thing about a library are librarians. So we'll pick up that conversation just after 4 o'clock today and find out just how important it is to have librarians, what their jobs are. They're not just there to fine us when you don't bring the books back. There's a whole lot more. And with all the information that we can get, be it right or wrong, how important is it to have somebody who has that information at their touch of their fingers? They know where to go. So if you want to find out about anything, like the facts, you don't just go to TikTok or ask your friends on the Facebooks. You can go to the librarian and go, Hazard, I want to learn how to put up shelves. And they will go, all right, here is a book, or here is the right place to go to. That's their job as librarians. Plus, they archive all of the information of the world in these libraries. So it's fascinating. We're going to talk about how important librarians are. So welcome to the show. Plenty to talk about. As always, phone lines are open. Messages, more than happy to get them. I think we got some voice notes coming through already. Hello, Freddie the truck driver is already on it. Freddie, you're busy today. As always, 086 000 2032 is the phone number. You can send us a WhatsApp as well. 0614 104 107.
You are listening to Jon Gericke on the Station of the Year.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has outlined the government's efforts to combat corruption, stating that a society-wide response is necessary. Addressing the two-day National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council dialogue that ended yesterday, the president said the government has invested in rebuilding law enforcement agencies and initiated 16 legislative reforms, with 8 before Parliament. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development has recommended reforms to the Protected Disclosures Act and Witness Protection Act. The fight against corruption is gaining momentum. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo maintained whistleblowers should be paid a percentage of recovered funds. A world-acclaimed U.S. academic has praised the work of the Zondo Commission, saying its global impact and highlighting the importance of people who stand up against corruption. He joins us now to share his thoughts on how South Africa is perceived worldwide on its efforts to end corruption. Professor Christopher Stone is from Oxford University School of Governance. Professor, thanks very much. Are we seen as a global light fighting corruption?
Well, I think you've seen, as the world's been watching the corruption scandals in South Africa, but also very eager to see the success of the fighting back. Corruption's a problem everywhere in the world. Every government, every country faces these problems. South Africa's problems have been particularly vivid over the last decade, but so has the pushback against it. And I think that's what makes it so interesting to all of us watching eagerly.
What do you think is the impact of the Zondo Commission on our perception?
Well, the Zondo Commission is extraordinary in many ways. It's made recommendations for prosecution, for substantive reform, but itself, it was a form of accountability. There was a public shaming, a public investigation. People were called to testify. The scenes of the accused corrupt officials and people from the private sector testifying before the commission, being questioned by the now Chief Justice and by the evidence leaders, was itself a form of accountability very few countries have seen.
Now, though, it's all very well to have a commission. We need to start seeing people being punished or being prosecuted for these crimes that have come out of the Zondo Commission. What can we do to do that? What is the strategies that need to come out now?
Well, absolutely. I mean, prosecution is essential in these, and there have been a few cases begun, and there need to be many more. So I think that's absolutely right. But prosecution alone doesn't end the corruption, doesn't end the systems. It's recognizing, as the Zondo Commission did, that this is a systemic problem, not an individual problem. This is not about a few corrupt people who got into positions of power. This is about systems that allowed them to take over that, to capture the systems of the state, and those systems have to be closed up. Those systems have to be changed. So prosecution, yes, absolutely, but just the spectacle of seeing people go to prison won't, as we've seen, stop the continuing corruption that continues to plague the SOEs, the municipalities, and the ministries. So it needs both. You need real leadership, you need real reform, systematic reform, and you need those prosecutions.
Have we got the minds to do that reform? It's huge. It's such a big problem.
Absolutely. No, it's a massive problem, but it can be done. And I think that's the important lesson about South Africa. If you can combine prosecution with real leadership, you can turn around an SOE, even a municipal government, a ministry, in a year or two. And it's been longer than that now. We see how long this process has taken. The Zondo Commission itself took 5 years to do what originally was hoped to be done in 6 months. So this takes time, but it absolutely can be done. And it can be done, it can be done in a relatively reasonable period of time. We've seen that around the world, but South Africa faces an almost a sort of countrywide challenge. It's not going to happen everywhere at once, but you need to start seeing progress, ministry by ministry, department by department now.
The president saying a society-wide response is necessary. So how can Joe Public do anything about it? How do we fight against corruption?
Well, I think that's the president talked about being able to speak up, and of course the dangers for whistleblowers are very well known. Some people are willing to take those risks. Some people are in position to be able to do so carefully and responsibly. But it's a question of both of supporting that effort, of making it clear when you see these problems. But it also has to do, I think, with lending support to those officials and to those institutional leaders who are trying to do something about it from the inside. I think that the call for society-wide response is really a call for engagement and support for real change, not just observing, not just being audience members to a courtroom drama, but being able to take a stand, express support, and support the institutions that are making real change.
Let's talk about the suggestion of paying the whistleblowers a percentage of the recovered funds. What's your view on that?
Well, countries are really experimenting with this. There are huge dangers in overcompensating. Any system where you start paying a lot of money to people itself can become abused.
Yes.
So you have to be careful. You have to be careful with this whistleblower, but it's also clearly important to create some incentive, some reward for people to run the risks that they're facing when they do speak up. So it's a balance. I don't think any.
Is that the end of Professor? Yep, there we go. That's the end of the professor's line, unfortunately. We'd like to... we'll do it, I'm sure. I think that's the end. We'll see if we can get the professor just to give a little voice note. Oh, he's back again. There we go. Sorry, Professor, we missed the last of what you were saying there. Maybe the last 30 seconds. We missed the last 30 seconds of what you were saying.
Just saying that yes, so just that the importance of... There's no perfect formula. There's no country that's got this right. But it's important to be able to give whistleblowers some compensation, some reward for the risks they're taking.
Safety and security is important. We're seeing horrific stories about whistleblowers that are being targeted. Is that part of the fundraising can go to that safety and security?
Well, yes. Well, as soon as you start raising funding, there'll be lots of calls for it. But protection of whistleblowers is important. It's never going to be complete. There's always going to be risk to people who take those steps. But there has to be meaningful protection to try and mitigate those risks.
And quickly, Prof, 2 minutes before I got to take an ad break. Why is Oxford University involved, and what can you do to help us?
Well, I think I think there's interest in universities all over the world about this fight on corruption. There have been many countries with scandals even larger than you've seen in South Africa. You think of Brazil recently. You think of the hundreds of thousands demonstrating across Eastern Europe around corruption in their governments. What's remarkable about South Africa is this almost countrywide decision to say enough is enough. This has got to stop. We're not going to allow our young democracy to be captured in this way. It's the fight back against corruption, I think, that has so many of us studying carefully, not just what the Zondo Commission did, but the public response that continues.
All right, so the eyes of the world are upon us. Thank you very much, Professor Christopher Stone from Oxford University's School of Government.
Experience a spectacular visual feast.
From Prela to Picasso, Pokela to Pemba.
More than 500 works.
Kolowane, Kandinsky, Kenrich and Clark.
Exploring the diversity and looking to the future.
Visit Breaking Down the Walls, 150 years of art collecting at the Iziko South African National Gallery in the Company's Garden, Cape Town. Open Monday to Sunday from 9 to 5. iziko.org.za.
The Kosi Nation says, Ikosi alphela umoya. But the Bucks are confident that yonke indawo ibhakabhaka iyaphumelela. Who are the real kings of Soweto? Gold and black or black and white? Uhamba nobani? Amakhosi or Amabhakaniya? This is the DSTV Premiership, the Soweto Derby. Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates on Saturday, 11 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to Jon Gericke on SFM.
It's official. There are now 8 billion of us on the planet, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. They revealed that people living to older ages accounts for more of the recent increase. Global median age now is 32. Is rising in a trend expected to continue towards 39 by 2060. What does that all mean? Should the world slow down a bit? Is it a healthy figure? Iturralde Diego is Chief Director for Demography and Population Statistics at Stats SA. Iturralde, thank you very much for joining us. It's a huge number. I remember when it was 7 billion. Why do we have so many humans on the planet?
Good afternoon, John. Thank you for having me on your show. Yeah, the milestone of reaching 8 billion persons was actually reached about 12 months ago. And
okay.
Yeah, so we're probably around 8.1, 8.2 billion by now.
Wow.
Why are we that many? Well, I think that over time, people have, as a result of medical technology and economics, people are living longer, they're living healthier lives, and we are in a position to be alive for much longer periods of time, resulting in an increased population.
So it's not necessarily more people having more babies, we're just living longer.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, people are having fewer babies. In many of the developed parts of the world, total fertility rate is below 2.1, which means that there are more deaths, which means that it is still the factor that drives population growth the most.
Mm-hmm.
But most certainly around the world we see that fertility rates are dropping because people are living longer, people are living healthier lives, they're able to sustain themselves economically. And this results in a increased population that we see the world reaching 8 billion.
We hear about child mortality rates. I guess this is proof that some things are working. Is it in Nigeria? Dramatic declines in death of children under 5. Positively, that's a lack of deaths of children under 5. People are living. These are vaccines. These are better nutrition and things that people are getting.
Absolutely, and even if we look in the local context at HIV/AIDS,
Right.
it is also a testament to the success of the ART program, which has, although it's not impacting the children themselves, it's impacting their mothers who may be HIV positive or may be exposed to HIV, and children as a result of other diseases, as a result of investment in fighting other diseases, or the infant mortality and under 5 mortality rates have also been declining rapidly and significantly in South Africa over the last 20 to 25 years.
All right, Iteralda, put on your stats cap if you can. How do you count 8 billion people?
You send out people into the ground all around the world at regular intervals, and we count them. And we hope we count them all. And in the cases where we do not count them, there are statistical techniques to adjust for those that have not been counted.
Right.
And there's a global program on population censuses around the world where countries are being capacitated to be able to do this. And demographic models using this information are then able to estimate that we've reached 8 billion and can indicate to us when we've reached that 8 billion.
So we've just had the census in South Africa, and those numbers have been coming out from you guys. That's an example. Yeah. You know how many people are in South Africa, you know how many people are in Kenya, for example. You add them all together, and you get a round number of around 8 billion people.
Exactly.
Okay. It sounds very simple. What is the future? And I know that you're a statistician and you don't give thoughts and those kind of things, and the statistician general always criticizes me for it. Should we, do we need to slow down? You know, the greenies will tell you there's just too many people on the planet. But if we keep saving people's lives, there's going to be more and more people.
Yes, well, I think the number of people we have is a deliberate choice that we make as a result of the life that we are living in our individual living circumstances. I think that people who feel they need to have 5 or 6 children because they need maybe 3 of them to survive, to look after them in older age, will choose to have 5 children. Yeah. But people in urban centers who feel that 1 or 2 children is enough, that they would invest in them by sending them to the best schools and universities so that they can be an active member of society and contribute to the economy and live a decent life, will make that choice as well. From what we see, as I indicated earlier, people around the world are having fewer children, but those children are living better quality lives. And that's the reality of the situation when it comes to the question about how many, or if it's too many or too few. And I think the question should not be the too many or the too few. The question should be, we are 8 billion. We all have unique strengths and characteristics, and we should tap into those strengths in order to create a better world for all 8 billion of us.
Let's talk about where the growth is. You mentioned a lot of people or a lot of countries have that number of 2.1, which is the number 15% of people live in places with fertility rates below replacement value. How many countries are there? Is there still a lot of countries where the fertility rate is quite high, worryingly high?
Well, we look at countries like Niger in West Africa, which is the youngest country in the world, where over half the population is under the age of 15. These are countries with high rates of infant mortality. And so even though people or women there are giving birth to maybe 6 or 7 children on average, not all of them are surviving to adulthood. So certainly in countries in the Sahel region in West Africa, there seems to be high fertility rates, but as we move further south, we find that fertility rates are much lower, and countries in North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, as well as South Africa are probably the lowest fertility rates on the African continent.
Just quickly, we got to go to news headlines. What is the majority age group at the moment? You guys always draw that little Christmas tree type of thing.
Yes, the population pyramid.
Yes.
So the majority age group is probably in the young ages, either 0 to 4 or 5 to 9.
Oh, wow. Because
as we become older, people might die for a variety of reasons. And as I said, fertility is still above the 2.1 level. So it would probably be between 0 and 9 years of age.
Is it still a pyramid, or are there little bumps in there? Like Japan has little bumps sometimes.
Well, the population pyramid tells a story of the country, and you would certainly, in some regions, like in Gauteng, you would find a bulge as a result of internal and international migration, but you would also find dips as a result of what HIV, the impact HIV had in the early 2000s. And then as we become older and we become fewer, especially men seem to become fewer sooner than women, we find at older ages that there are more women than men. So there most certainly are these dips, and these dips tell a story about the history of the country.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Iterolda Diego, thank you very much. Chief Director for Demography and Population Statistics at StatsA. Brings us to 29 minutes to 4 o'clock. Let's get news headlines with Leanda Mayome.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. In your headlines, Freedom Under Law will launch a legal challenge against the JSC's decision regarding appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This comes after the October leg of the Judicial Service Commission interviewed 10 candidates for 4 vacancies in the Supreme Court of Appeal. Former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC Jon Gericke has been granted parole and has been released from prison. Gericke was sentenced to 15 years for corruption and money laundering back in 2016. And the bail application of suspects accused of being behind the burglary at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala farm has been postponed to Monday. The Joseph siblings, Froliana and David, along with the third accused, David Emanuela, want to be released on bail. I'll have details on these and other stories at 4.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
And it's a good afternoon to our traffic watcher, Rob Byrne.
Yeah, thanks, John. Quite heavy on the way to Pretoria today. Again, it's just busy heading up through Midrand section, Beclew through to about New Road before you're out of that. And then you're pretty quickly back into it. A crash just before Brockfontein interchange with a queue from as far back as Samrand Road. Also, if you're leaving Pretoria en route towards Krugersdorp or Lanseria, collision on the N14. It is just past the R511 exit at Diepsloot. It's been a busy day between Pietermaritzburg and Durban. We're still queuing on that section between Ashburton and around about Umlas Road before you're out of that. It's all happening again today at Spaghetti Junction with a crash on the N2 North at the interchange. So the N3 outbound, the N3 inbound, all very slow. The N2 North coming from Booth Road Bridge is being held up. And at the same time, a breakdown on the N2 South, just driving down through Umgeda Road towards Spaghetti Junction. So a lot of congestion in that part of Durban. Cape Town today, busy around the beaches, as you might imagine. Been a cracking day. Fish Hook up to Cork Bay on the main roads heavy. More traffic on the main road through the central Muizenberg area and Victoria Road in the heart of Camps Bay. Looking fairly busy both ways. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkapele.
Tumi, just before you start,
Yeah.
you'll probably get this mail when you get back to your desk, and I just saw it now. It's come through a second ago.
Okay.
Dieter Renken, motorsport journalist, South African motorsport journalist. He's been appointed the FIA Formula One World Championship Commissioner in the office of the FIA President. It's the highest ranking position in the FIA motorsports of a South African ever.
That's great.
That's fantastic little news. Well done, Dieter.
Shoo. Well done to him.
What else is happening in the sport?
So much happening. Starting off at the Cricket World Cup, Afghanistan were restricted to 244 all out after they won the toss and elected to bat first against South Africa. Afghanistan's innings were led by Azmatullah Omazai, who scored his maiden century as he made an unbeaten 97 off 106 balls. Gerald Coetzee took 4 wickets, and the Proteas are now sitting on 41 for no loss. They need 204 runs in 42 overs to win. It's Quinton de Kock and Themba Bavuma at the crease, and we're hoping that Themba does well today. Meanwhile, Alan Donald will leave his post as Bangladesh's fast bowling coach following the World Cup just days after his public criticism in the wake of the timed out row. Bangladesh will wrap up a disappointing global showpiece campaign against Australia tomorrow. Now, Donald's relationship with the Bangladesh Cricket Board has soured after he criticized skipper Shakib Al Hassan for his central role in the timeout controversy involving Sri Lanka's Angelo Matthews on Monday. Moving on to football, Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bruce has named his final 23-man squad for the start of their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Rwanda later this month. A 22-year-old trio of Oswin Apollos from Polokwane City, Bradley Cross of Golden Arrows, and Jaden Adams of Stellenbosch FC will join the camp for the first time. And those missing out from the previous camp include Orlando Pirates duo Baseko Mako and Monapule Saleng, as well as St. Louis City midfielder Njabulo Blom. Then Burnley striker Lyle Foster is also left out after he requested to be excused due to mental health issues. This was also confirmed by his Premier League club yesterday.
Lyle's been having issues with his mental well-being, and as a club we've very quickly, very naturally made the decision to fully support him, support his family, obviously offer him access to all the expertise and clinical support that he needs. And at the moment, I think for him, we're wishing him a speedy recovery, and we're wishing him to be in a better place by the time he's ready to come back to us.
That's the voice of Burnley's head coach Vincent Kompany wishing Lyle a speedy recovery. Now, replacing the 23-year-old forward is Mamelodi Sundowns utility attacker Thapelo Maseko, and Bafana Bafana are set to face Benin in their campaign opener at Moses Mabhida Stadium on Saturday at 3 p.m. before travelling to Butare on Sunday to face Rwanda on the 21st of November, also at 3 p.m. Elsewhere, England manager Gareth Southgate insists that the door is 100% open for Raheem Sterling to resume his international career. This is despite leaving the Chelsea forward out of his latest squad. When asked whether he had an issue with Sterling, this is what Southgate had to say.
Well, the door is 100% open, not only for Raheem, but for other players that aren't in this squad. So there's no doubt about that. We don't need to know about his quality, his personality. He is a crucial part of why we've had the journey we've had over the last few years. So I can only repeat what I've said in the last couple of squad selection meetings. The team are playing really well. We had an exceptional win here against Italy last time round. Who do we leave out to put him in?
Moving on to tennis news, former world number one Naomi Osaka will return to the WTA Tour after a break of 15 months at the Brisbane International warm-up for the Australian Open in January. The four-times Grand Slam winner last played at WTA tournament at the Pan Pacific Open in Tokyo in late September last year, and she had her daughter Shai in July this year. The Brisbane tournament will also feature the likes of Andy Murray and another twice Australian Open champion and Victoria Azarenka. Ending things off with motorsport, reigning world MotoGP champion Francesco Bagnaia says that he thrives on the pressure of leading the championship with Jorge Martin in hot pursuit ahead of the Malaysian Grand Prix in Sepang on Monday. Now, he tops the standings on 389 points, while Martin lurks 13 points behind on 376 after the Spaniard gave himself a massive boost by claiming a priceless fourth win of the season in Thailand last month. With that said, it's a wrap from my side. For SAFM Sport, I'm Dumin Kapele.
Ford is turning 100, and there's never been a better time to buy a brand new Ford. We're giving away 100 vouchers worth an amazing 50,000 Rand each, and the sensational grand prize of us paying for one lucky winner's Ford. It's the celebration of the century. Visit a Ford dealer, buy a new Ford, and win. T&Cs apply.
Have you ever noticed how unique the rugby ball is?
You should check out Head High.
The rise of junior rugby stars Mana and Tai.
Vince is not just their stepfather, he's their coach.
Catch the brothers' dream of the black jersey, Head High, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
Hashtag Rugby Drama Galore.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Hashtag SAFM BTH.
20 minutes to 4, John in for Eldrin. Good afternoon to you. Coming up in a little while, Minister Zihle Zikalala will join us to tell us more about an infrastructure investment roadshow that's been undertaken in the United Kingdom. He is the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister of South Africa in London this week. One of the worries international business has is BBEE, localization, PFMA, and some perceiving South Africa to be too bureaucratic. We'll see how the minister has overcome those hurdles. But first, let's get a daily update on what is happening in the Middle East. Quote, it's clear that the ongoing war in Gaza will continue to have a profound socioeconomic impact on the occupied Palestinian territories as a whole. It's a key message contained in a new rapid assessment of the United Nations entitled The Gaza War, Expected Socioeconomic Impacts on the State of Palestine. The assessment finds that after 1 month of fighting, the Palestinian economy as a whole has already lost 4% of GDP. If fighting continues for another month, the cumulative effects will be at 8% GDP loss. Sherwin Bryce-Pease has this.
If the pictures of devastation and grief don't tell the story, then perhaps the numbers will do the trick, as the unfolding humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza also becomes a development crisis. Listen to the director of the Regional Bureau for Arab States at the United Nations Development Programme, Abdallah Al-Dardari.
The Syrian economy used to lose 1% of GDP per month. We have lost already 4% of GDP, not just of Gaza economy. I need to insist, even though the fighting is in Gaza, but the whole Palestinian economy has lost already 4% of GDP. If this fight continues till the end of the second month, the loss will be more than 8% of GDP. And if it continues till the end of the year, we are going to have a 12% loss in GDP.
Gaza was already in dire straits before the recent conflict broke out after Hamas's attack on Israel. An unemployment rate of 41%. 63% of households were food insecure, and nearly 80% of children were in dire need of assistance. Add to that a death toll of more than 10,500, including over 4,000 children. While, as of November 3rd, 50% of housing units have been totally destroyed and over 200,000 units are partially damaged. And if the war persists, the assessment warns that Gaza's population might have nowhere to go. With 96%, almost the entire population of Gaza, facing unprecedented deprivation of all essential services while falling into multidimensional poverty.
Even more important, if I may say, is the loss to human development. After 2 months of fighting, Palestine, and not just Gaza, would have lost 16 years of human development. Health and education and infrastructure and economic growth, that would be wiped out. Palestine would go back to 2005. All the investments, all the work, all the hard work of the international community and the Palestinian people will be lost since 2005. 45% of UNDP's projects in Gaza have already been destroyed.
They warn that as a result, the region will face a long-lasting internal displacement situation with all its humanitarian, economic, developmental and security consequences.
It took 4 years of fighting in Syria to lose that percentage of housing that Gaza lost in 1 month. It's unprecedented. So rebuilding that later on, that will be a challenge because we will be living with a long-term humanitarian crisis even after the war ends. The cost of that rebuilding, the conditions of that rebuilding, the parameters of that rebuilding will be something which has to be looked at in an exceptional manner.
And a population in need of hope and solidarity. As the Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, Dr. Rola Dashti, explained.
It's clear as the ongoing war on Gaza will have profound socio-economic impact on the occupied Palestinian territory as a whole. And as we discuss this critical issue on the socio-economic impact, I just want you to recognize that there is human faces behind these staggering numbers. And beyond the numbers, there are also real people on both sides of this conflict, enduring unimaginable suffering, which puts on us a moral obligation to work collectively together to alleviate their suffering and bring some glimmer of hopes as we go along.
And while this war is still ongoing, Gaza already faces a massive development deficit that will only grow larger with each additional day that this conflict is allowed to continue. I'm Sherwin Bryce Pease in New York.
You are listening to Jon Gericke on the Station of the Year.
It's 4:45. Some voice notes that have come in already today. On what are we talking about? Corruption and Ramaphosa. We're getting here from a library as well. Let's start with the justice one first.
Good afternoon, John. You are speaking to Zonkel again, Promised Land. You see, these things of the justice system of this country is unfair. John Blocker, he didn't even finish his term at jail. Now he's being granted bail. You see, this country is a banana republic. But if you are poor, you will remain in prison. But if you are rich, you will remain outside. You can do whatever you want. Thank you.
He was granted parole, not bail, and I think it's part of that that proclamation that the president did that allowed Jacob Zuma to get out of jail as well. I think it forms part of that. He did a degree while he was in prison as well, and he's, according to the reports, an exemplary prisoner, and he's been granted parole.
Good afternoon, Brother John. It's Fred the Trucker here in KZN. Brother John, so this lady still had time to be making a baby when she knew that she stole from the first citizen of the country. She blew it up. How do you steal from the president? Huh? Such an opportunity to be working for the president. Then you go on and steal again. Some people I call.
Thank you, SAFM. My good story about the libraries is that libraries and information centers are indispensable source of knowledge and information. We all know that knowledge is the jewel of humanity. It is the source of progress and the key to good governance and leadership. Just as Jammu and Kashmir put it nicely, the history of the evolution of human civilization cannot be complete without the mention of books and libraries. Libraries are the basic means of acquiring knowledge and education, and the main keys of every kind of national development. Big ups to librarians and the libraries. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we hear stories that the Joburg Library is closing. We'll talk more about that later on. Mpo in Mongang, hi.
Good afternoon, Brother John.
How's it going,
Brother
Paul?
John, fine as a bra. You know, you asked the question, is Ramaphosa the right person to talk about corruption? My answer is yes.
Tell me why.
No, why? I think even about 70 to 80% of us phoning in this program, in one way or the other, we're involved in corruption. We're bribing the police, we're bribing the police officer, we're bribing the school for them to get our children first preference, we're bribing for getting work, and that is corruption. So everybody has got the right to talk on corruption because most of us are committing corruption, knowingly or unknowingly. You understand?
Yeah.
And then I've listened to your previous speaker who was talking about many countries, including Brazil, who are struggling with the very same thing of corruption.
Yes.
So corruption is not something that is born and bred alone in South Africa, and then it gets, distributed to other countries. It's something that is global. Now, the most important thing is how do we deal with it for us to get rid of it? And then I can tell you, we're not going to get corruption completely out. For instance, I've read somewhere, I think it was yesterday on the Google News, there's a political party that people think this political party is a messiah, is going to get rid of corruption and stuff like that. There's an issue between EFF and what is this NGO that's supposed to pay, that EFF supposed to pay money.
AfriForum.
AfriForum,
yeah.
Whereby they were declaring that they got payment, but this payment that they received does not, it does not show who is the person who has paid for for this money.
Yeah. Apparently,
that is coming from
the proof of payments are incorrect.
Falsified.
Yeah,
they have been falsified, and I can tell you, it is not the only payment. There are many payments whereby some people somewhere sitting somewhere who are actually pulling the strings, who are paying for these people, for these EFF people. Now they think that EFF is a clean is going to bring us a clean government. These people are just going to we are just going to change the jockey. But the horse is going to be the same horse. I can tell you.
All right.
They're
So
going to ride the same horse.
What is the solution then, Mpoyo? You're saying if it starts with us. If I stop bribing a cop or whatever, and you stop bribing a cop, everybody stops doing that. Then the guys at the top will stop doing it.
You know. If you are right. If each and every one of us can stop bribing anything, whether you go to the shop and you steal, or you go to the school and then you get bribed to get whatever your child must get
into the first team,
there, or at work, and then you buy somebody at work to give you a job. If you can stop all those things, you understand, those are petty. But when you let them not knit into the bud, they are going to grow and become part of our gene. They are going to part of a normal way to do things in this country. You understand?
Yep. All right.
So there's absolutely no single person or a single political party is going to get rid of corruption. They are almost all of them doing the same thing. Thank you.
All right. Mpo in Mangaung saying that everybody is corrupt, and if we stop, isn't it from the head of the fish down? Isn't it? Isn't that what they say? Still want to know what you think. Give us a call. We'll take more calls. We'll take more voice notes later on in the show.
Open the Absa Cash Invest Tracker account and earn the best rates in the market. More than the top 10 money market funds' average returns. Enjoy unmatched advantages at an interest rate of 8.9% per annum. Plus, if you open your account today, you could win your share of 15 million rand in luxury travel experiences for two. Yes, you heard right. A trip for you and your partner. My Bank does that. Open yours today in less than 5 minutes on the banking app, at your nearest Absa branch, or consult your private banker or call 0860 111 515. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Manchester United are only interested in maximum points to keep their fans delighted.
Fernandes, a captain's goal.
However, Luton Town FC are not willing to travel back to Kenilworth Road without the valuable 3 points.
If it's a Tahitong, listen to that noise.
Will the Red Devils seal victory at Old Trafford, or will the Hatters prevail away from home? This is the Premier League. Catch the thrilling encounter between Manchester United and Luton Town FC. The Saturday, 11 November at 4 p.m. Live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag we love it here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to Jon Gericke on the Station of the Year.
7 minutes to 4 o'clock. The Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Zihle Zikalala, has been on a number of road shows out in the UK, telling global investors South Africa's economy remains resilient despite numerous challenges that we face daily. Load shedding is one of those. Also now on an Inter-Africa Trade Fair currently underway in Saudi Arabia. The Minister joins us now. Minister Zihle Zikalala, thank you very much. A difficult task for you when the President says corruption has seeped into all aspects of governance. What sort of story do you have to tell?
Challenging because we have to ensure that the development that is required for our country is not squandered through corrupt practices. But for us, what we have engaged on with potential investors, in particular in UK, is to ensure that they get confidence and present to them our clear and bankable pipeline of projects in infrastructure development. We hope that the engagement that we have held, a number of commitments, will be followed by actions where a number of them will come into the country to invest in our development. The key areas that we are prioritizing for investors is the whole issue of energy, railway, as well as investment in water. Through Infrastructure South Africa, we've developed quite a bankable project that are either being implemented right now or that are towards the end of the preparation phase.
Do the investors see the state of railways and see that as investment opportunity, or is it a negative thing for them?
Learning from various experiences, potential investors see value in areas such as railway, because it is areas that comes on the basis of triple P, which is build, operate, and transfer. And that, if it is well structured, it has a potential to benefit both sides, benefit the government and the citizen, as well as the investors themselves.
What about I know they grilled you about the triple BEE policies. Starlink is an example where Starlink isn't in South Africa because Elon Musk is not happy with the triple BEE. How did you address them?
Well, that is quite a challenge because many foreign companies would not want to invest if they are subjected to BEE. But it should not come like BEE, it's about bleeding. Because if you are investing and there is a BEE partner, that BEE partner must also raise a percentage, a particular percentage that he holds in that company. So it is something that must be accepted as an understanding or against the background of our own country, which requires that we transform the economy.
What else did they raise? One of the issues they raised is bureaucracy. Is South Africa too bureaucratic? Is it easy to do business if you're international in South Africa?
It is a concern to many, but through Infrastructure South Africa, we're now able to intervene in a bureaucratic process that normally prolong applications and development of plans to implement infrastructure. And through Infrastructure South Africa, we're able now to integrate all of those processes and ensure that we support the investors and make it easy for investors to do business in South Africa.
Before we talk about what you're doing in Saudi Arabia, do you feel you were well accepted, Minister?
We're well accepted, and there's always been an eagerness to support South Africa due to the historical ties between UK and South Africa.
Do they see South Africa as a big market compared to other BRICS countries? Would it not make sense for them to invest in Brazil or in China?
They realize the need to invest in South Africa, given that South Africa is one of the stable African countries, and given the development of the intra-Africa trade agreement, which gives more advantage to companies that are in Africa. So they see South Africa as a stable base on which they can invest and then be able also to trade in Africa.
All right, let's talk about the Inter-Africa Trade Fair that you're currently at in Saudi Arabia. What's that about?
Well, we are in Egypt to attend the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, which is the third edition. The first edition was held in Egypt. The second was in Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal in 2021. This is the third one. It encourages intra-Africa trade. It is a platform where the African companies display their product and able to market themselves to the world and to Africa, because Africa must boost intra-Africa trade.
And how's South Africa faring there? We got good stories again to tell?
Good stories. There are a number of SMMEs from almost all provinces. We came here on the invitation of African Bank. It is a platform that seeks to support small manufacturers so that Africa become industrialized again.
And there's talk about getting rid of levies across the continent. Is that all in plan and in action?
Yes, that is the debate that is in plan on how to get a rate of tariffs and levies that are charged and allow trade to flow in the continent.
Razikhle Zikalala, thank you very much. Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure joining us here on SAFM. Yeah, sounds like we got good news stories overseas. What do you make of that? Are our policies still too strong? Have you tried to do business with internationals? Let us know. You can SMS 0614 104, voice note 0614 104 107, and we'll take calls as well later, 086 000 2032. Coming up after the news, research in vendors found that groundwater in Vaibong region in Limpopo has a human health risk. If a child consumes that water from childhood to adulthood, they will likely develop a cancer. Likelihood of developing a cancer. And also earlier this week we had a discussion about the state of libraries in the country. We're going to talk about librarians. And then our bonding session today. Where do the friends go when you're in need? And they just disappear. Let's talk about that as well as plenty more after the news at 4 o'clock.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Thank you, John. In your top stories, Freedom Under Law takes the JSC to court, and John Block released from incarceration. This is SAFM News. A very good afternoon. Freedom Under Law will launch a legal action against the Judicial Service Commission's decision regarding appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This comes after the October leg of the JSC interviewed 10 candidates for 4 vacancies in the SCA. The body, however, only recommended Judge Faiza Khatri Sitilwani and Judge Anna Khwele, who have since been appointed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, and left the remaining 2 vacancies unfilled. Kenny Mapanga reports.
The JSC has since provided written reasons behind this decision. Freedom Under Law, however, says that the reasons provided are quote-unquote inadequate and do not address the significant public concerns which were raised about the appointments in the immediate aftermath of the interviews. As a result, the organization Freedom Under Law has resolved to take the JSC's decision in relation to the appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal on review and is instructing its legal representatives accordingly. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC John Block has been granted parole and has been released. Block was sentenced to 15 years for corruption and money laundering in 2016. Block took the Correctional Services Department to court, claiming that he qualifies for parole if presidential remissions are taken into account. Last week, the Northern Cape High Court instructed the parole board to adhere to an order it handed down in September, instructing it to address Block's application. Spokesperson for the Department of Correctional Services is Singabako Ngumalo.
Correctional Services confirms parole placement for Mr. John Figela Block effectively from the 10th of November 2023. Mr. Block was sentenced to 15 years for corruption and money laundering on the 6th of June 2016. This parole placement decision was taken by the Correctional Supervision and Parole Board following Section 73 of the Correctional Services Act. Effectively, this says that Mr. Block is now a parolee and is expected to comply with a specific set of parole conditions.
The bail application of suspects accused of being behind the burglary at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala farm has been postponed. The Joseph siblings, Froliana and David, along with that accused David Emanuela, want to be released on bail. Through an affidavit, Froliana says that she's breastfeeding a minor child. Her brother David also says that though he has Namibian roots, he was born in Bilabila. The siblings have handed their passports to the authorities. The trio are accused of stealing $580,000 from President Ramaphosa's farm. Bonima Khupa reports.
The accused siblings have told the court that they won't evade court appearances. Floriana was a domestic worker at the farm when the crime was committed. Her brother David has also said that he has cooperated with the police when handing himself. The accused have applied for bail through their written affidavits. The state has indicated that it would not be opposing bail against Floriana Joseph. The bail hearing is underway. Bonima Khopa, SABC News, Polokwane.
A total of 398 families were displaced in the 1950s in Oorendalsrus in the Free State are still waiting for their houses to be built, 19 years after their application for land restitution was approved. The Marube Land Claim Committee chairperson Victor Kubo says an amount of 52 million rand was paid to Machabeng municipality for the land to be developed. Kubo says they have lodged complaints with the Special Investigating Unit, the Human Rights Commission and the Presidential Hotline as they want answers for the long delay.
Money has been misused, because if it didn't misused, 19 years is too long. Why this project didn't come all right? It is because somebody is there, but we don't know who. We are still looking. We contacted the SIU, the public protector, and also the president hotline. We needed them to come and help us because somebody stolen our money.
And finally, Hamas officials in Gaza say that 13 people have been killed by Israeli airstrikes that hit the territory's biggest hospital. Hamas says 2 other hospitals also came under fire overnight. The BBC's Mark Lowen reports.
The Hamas-run health ministry has accused Israel of directly targeting the Al-Shifa hospital this morning with missiles. I have to say, we have received very graphic videos that purport to show injured people around the Al-Shifa hospital, with reports of up to 60,000 people still sheltering around that hospital. The Israeli forces maintain that the hospital is sheltering Hamas tunnels, Hamas command centers, and Hamas fueled. Israel's military control in Gaza is now the largest since 1967, when it seized Gaza.
Recapping your top story, Freedom Under Law will launch a legal challenge against the JSC's decision regarding appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This comes after the October leg of the JSC interviewed 10 candidates for 4 vacancies in the court. For SAFM News, I am Luyanda Maume. Headlines at 4:30.
Coming up in your sports this hour, Al-Wada sack Musimane after a 4-month spell and provisional SA Under-19 squad named for the World Cup. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Rob Byrne, good afternoon. What's happening on the roads?
Yeah, thanks, John. There's been a collision scene on the N1 North moving through Centurion on your way to Pretoria. It's causing quite a backlog. The crash scene is just up by the old Joburg Road exit. Traffic all the way back through to sort of New Road. There is just a backlog of traffic anyway between Buccleuch and New Road, but the real sort of queue into that starts from New Road. It's looking quite heavy. You might want to hit some side roads, alternative routes to beat the worst of that. Also, collision N3 south at Van Buren, so delays coming down from the Edenvale area through Galuli's interchange. Pietermaritzburg down to Durban, a little bit slow, sort of Umlas Road to Cato Ridge, but it is all starting to move. And in Cape Town, the beaches are busy. That'll take that as a given with the daylight today. Cork Bay, Muizenberg and Camps Bay all very slow. And a crash involving a pedestrian driving into Mitchell's Plain. It's on the R300, just as you turn off the M7 and head towards Stock Road. There is some queuing pressure there. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Feel safe this holiday season. Secure your home with Trelidor. Call 0861 Trelidor now and get a quote within 24 hours. Our security experts are on standby at over 50 franchises across South Africa. So call today or visit trelidor.co.za. Trelidor, the ultimate crime barrier.
The Kosi Nation says,
Ikosi alphela umoya.
but the Bucks are confident that yonke indawo ibhakabhaka
Liyaphumelela.
Who are the real kings of Soweto? Gold and black
or black and white.
Uhamba nobani?
Amakhosi or amabhakaniya.
This is the DSTV Premiership.
The Soweto Derby.
Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates on Saturday, 11 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
Hashtag We Love It Here.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
Backtracks with Jon Gericke.
No, that's the other show that I do, but it's okay. It's Jon Gericke is me. We should start the Backtrack show on this show just for fun one day. Let Aldrin tune in and go, what's going on in this program? Welcome to it. It's Beyond the Headline on SAFM. I'm Jon Gericke. Lucky to be along with you. Into the second hour we go. We're talking libraries in this hour. Also, worrying research from Vendor saying that, from the University of Venda, saying that this Venda doesn't exist anymore, but in Limpopo, there are problems with water. Groundwater will give you cancer in certain areas in Limpopo. There's research this thick about how they've done it, but I'm going to talk to the researcher at the University of Venda, who's a professor, and Joshua Edokpai will be able to explain it to me, because if I can understand it, then you can understand it as well. Then we'll talk libraries as well, so stay close. We'll take messages and voice notes as well, and then we're going to have the bonding session later on, where we're going to ask about where the friends go. When you look for help, who is willing to help you? I must admit, I'm one of those friends as well. I had a friend who was in need, but yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't help them in any way. So you feel bad, and then you look and you see the phone call come up on your phone, and you think, like, I know why they're phoning me. I can't. And you tap the red button. You swipe left, and you know that you shouldn't. Yeah, I was that friend. Are you that friend as well, or are you like green swipe? No matter. 2:00 in the morning, the phone call comes. Somebody is like, "How's it, Chomi? Where are you? I'll come and help you." We'll talk about that later on in the show. Now, though, let's take some voice notes that have come through. What have we got? Corruption and a couple of other stories as well. Let's see what you're saying on 0614 104 107.
Good day, John. This is Matebola. President Ramaphosa wished to deal with corruption, but we need an independent body to deal with corruption. We don't need politicians themselves to deal with corruption, because they are the one who start this corruption. And many of them, they are corrupt to the core. So politicians, they need to put an independent body to deal with corruption. Listening to analysts, he's saying that also. We need an independent body. That's all I think. This is Agimatebo.
That was the Scorpions, wasn't it?
Hello, John. You know, I have respect for the professor, but let's not make it sound like no administration is captured. Every administration is captured. Even the current administration is captured. It has its own capture. And the unfortunate thing that even the current president is corrupt. The Pala matter, we can try to avoid it as much as we can. We can, you know, they can try to even spin it. Even with the current incumbent of the public protector's office, the president is also corrupt. That is a fact. It is a fact. So for a layman who's on the street can say, fight corruption, like he says that, the public, there's an outcry about corruption, but then that outcry doesn't have any impact. Because most of the ANC, like the current Secretary General, for instance, has been implicated in many corruption cases. So what are we talking about here? Thank you.
#SAFMBTH.
12 minutes past 4, John in for Eldrin. Good afternoon. If you've just joined us, a worrying story. Research by the University of Venda has found that groundwater in Faibong region in Limpopo is a human health risk with lifetime consumption. In other words, if a child consumes the water from childhood to adulthood, there's a likelihood of developing cancer. Groundwater, one of the sources of drinking water in the Limpopo province. Professor Joshua Edokpai is a researcher at the University of Venda. Professor, thanks for joining us. There were a lot of words and a lot of numbers in your research. Bottom line is groundwater in that region of Limpopo is dangerous.
Correct. Thank you. Good afternoon to you and the listeners.
What did you find? Or let's start with how you did your research, first of all.
Okay, thank you. I think the interest of the research was developed from one of my honor student, actually, who lives around the region. So she was so concerned that they usually consume groundwater and they don't even know the quality of the groundwater they consume. So she discussed that with me, and I said, well, let's do some tests. Let's check out the quality of the groundwater. So that was how we investigated the groundwater in that region.
Okay, when you talk about groundwater, these are boreholes that have been drilled, and this is where people are getting their daily water from?
Correct.
How many boreholes did you look into?
We looked at 17 boreholes, both in the wet and in the dry season, because sometimes seasonal variation does impact the quality of groundwater.
Okay, and what did you find, Professor?
Thank you so much. We discovered that for most of the boreholes, the levels of E. coli. E. coli is just an indication to show that the water does contain some pathogenic organisms, that can cause health impacts. Okay, so it can lead to diarrhea, cholera, if the water is consumed continuously. All right, so that was one of the major contaminants in the groundwater. Also, we discovered that aluminium also was a bit high, not so high, but was a bit high, and this could impact some taste when we look at the other concentration of calcium, that was present in the water. So it can impact a little taste, in the water. But if the concentration of aluminium become very, very high, then it can cause some neurological disorder. It can cause Alzheimer's disease, which is in form of memory loss, and it can also lead to kidney diseases. Then the third major contaminant that we found that was really worrying is the nitrate concentration. Now, over 50% of the borehole has a nitrate concentration above the South African National Standard Guideline value and also above the World Health Organization value. And some of the potential sources of this nitrate could be, pit latrines that the people use without the concentration, the consideration of how the groundwater flow in that area, so there can actually be a pit latrine in the aquifer. All right. Then also subsistence agriculture. If people rear animals without proper waste management of the urine and feces of these animals, so during rainfall, such nutrients can actually find their way into groundwater, leading to high levels of nitrates in the groundwater.
It's worrying. Are you going to try and expand this to see if it's bigger in that area? 17 balls is a lot, but if you can expand that and see just how prevalent this is.
Yeah, that will be the next step going forward, to really go in depth, and also if we can get some clinical data, to reflect what we are finding and what is happening in the community.
Right.
Although some interview we conducted with the community members, they alluded to the fact that sometimes their water have unpleasant taste. When visitors drink the water, they have diarrhea. So those are some prosy indicators to show that what we found in the groundwater and their experience, are well aligned.
It's interesting what you say there, when visitors come and they get sick. Have people become so accustomed to this that their body has the right antibiotics or whatever it might be to be able to handle some of these things?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it does. Right. Yeah, if you have consumed the water for a long time, the body develop antibodies and they get used to, yeah.
But the one worry is that what I said earlier, this is developing cancer is a high likelihood from childhood to adults.
Yeah, but you see, that's just a cancer risk study, and we use models to do that. And the likelihood of cancer, yes, from the data we generated, is possible. But this is only if someone consume only that source of water for their lifetime, right, which is highly variable. It's not likely going to happen because most people go to work, some people go to school and they drink different kind of water of improved quality. So that in a way will lessen, the risk of, cancer generation within the population.
Prof, this has been now in Nature, www.nature.com, the full survey and the report. What happens to a report like this now?
Yeah, a report like this is read, globally, actually is read globally. And the aim of publishing such a result is to, arouse the interest of the government as well as non-governmental organizations and well-to-do citizens, who can really come to the plight, of these people in the rural areas. Because in South Africa, access to clean and safe water is actually a constitutional right. So having this out there should, make the government, invest more into water infrastructure, because it is a national problem. It's not only in Limpopo province. Even when you hear reports from Gauteng, from Northwest, you discover that this is a national problem. So I think more investment needs to go into, building and maintaining water infrastructure so that people can have a sustainable access to clean and safe water.
Or at least education for now. If at least the people know what's in their water and they can filter it or boil it or whatever's necessary to be able to make that water more palatable.
Yes, again, that is very, very important. And like I have said earlier, that, the government can even send extension workers, to actually educate these farmers that live in the rural areas, how they can manage the waste from their animals. That is very, very important. We are currently doing a study of, groundwater quality in animal husbandry, and the levels we are finding is quite disturbing. So it is showing that either the government or non-governmental organization need to step in, to actually teach, these rural dwellers a better way, of rearing their animals, such that groundwater contamination will be reduced.
Also, a little thing, I saw a documentary, Prof, where that groundwater could be used to spray crops, and then those contaminants get onto the crop. So even if you think you're being healthy and not drinking from the water itself, it still can get into your body some other way.
Yeah, that is true. But the levels of E. coli actually we found, in the groundwater in the study area are not necessarily too high, but the immune systems of people are different.
Yeah.
There are people that just a low level is enough to knock them out, while some others will actually require a very high levels. So the water can be used for irrigation.
Okay.
All we just need to encourage people to do is wash your vegetables very well, or wash it with a little quantity of salt. So that should be enough if the water is used for irrigation. But when consumed without any form of treatment, then that becomes a higher risk.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Professor Joshua Edokpai, thank you very much, researcher at the University of Venda.
Have you ever noticed how unique the rugby ball is?
You should check out Head High.
The rise of junior rugby stars Mana and Tai.
Vince is not just their stepfather, he's their coach.
Catch the brothers' dream of the black jersey, Head High, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
Hashtag Rugby Drama Galore.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
SFM invites you to our inaugural public lecture, delivered by the former Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng. The theme of the lecture is constitutionalism and upholding the rule of law in South Africa. Has corruption and malfeasance eroded the moral fabric of the democratic dispensation? The lecture will take place on the 29th of November 2023 at the SABC M1 Studios in Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at info@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation. You are listening to Jon Gericke on the Station of the Year.
23 minutes past 4 o'clock. Earlier this week, we had a discussion about the state of libraries in the country due to safety concerns and delayed renovations. That was the case at the Joburg Library that had closed down. One of the takeaways was establishing what the future of libraries is in the country. This year, National Library Week was held under the theme Libraries, Telling Powerful Stories. We've lined up a cohort of local librarians who shared their experiences of how libraries have told powerful stories within their own communities.
Hi, I'm Jeff Nyoga. I'm a professional librarian. A powerful story I would like to share is how libraries and mentorship can really change lives. There's a young lady who is about 21 years old now. She was introduced to library programs for reading and storytelling, but then she was later introduced to coding as a concept. She embraced this concept and learned coding on her own. She then went on to get some training at Saipono Center in Newtown. She completed a Python language exam, and she's now training other young people on coding and robotics on a voluntary basis. I see her getting into the computer science field, which really needs women, but it's through her work with libraries that she was introduced to this concept.
My name is Tibello Singwara, and I am proud to have taken part in a digital literacy program specifically for senior citizens. This program focused on teaching senior citizens basic computer skills, including typing. They were then, after that, taught the basics of creative writing and encouraged to write stories about themselves and their lives. These stories were then turned into a short stories book titled COJ Senior Citizens Write. I am grateful to have been a part of this project that empowers a marginalized group of people with the voice to tell their stories, all while developing important digital literacy skills.
My name is Lindan Sikakane. I'm a professional librarian. We work with high schools to do career expos, career coaching, to motivate grade 11s and grade 12. We deliver those services so that we'll build future leaders of our country. We explain to them the type of careers that are available for them in universities and colleges. So what we do, we make sure that we provide those services so that they will have a clear understanding on those careers that are available in their life. This is our job. We love it, and we make sure that we are making a powerful stories to them.
I'm Gwyneth Perry, and I'm a professional librarian. I've been involved in creating digital story times over the last 3 years, and have presented them on Facebook and other platforms. I've really enjoyed presenting these stories to the children and adults who tune in to watch, and I hope to continue presenting the stories and allowing children to enjoy and get to know more about reading. It's been a great privilege.
My name is Lydia, and I've been working in a public library for almost 12 years. And when I tell people that I work in a public library, they normally think that it's only about the books. But libraries, in my experience with working with the community in outreach programs, I have realized that libraries is a safe haven for all people from all different backgrounds, and that builds a bridge between people. It brings people together to discuss difficult topics, to communicate and get information. So libraries is really the heart of the community.
Thanks to Gwyneth Perry, Jeff Nyoka, Tebelo Sengora, Lindani Shakane, and Lydia van Asvergen for sharing their stories. Well, let's talk to the President-elect of the Library and Information Association of South Africa, Charlie Malepo. Charlie, thanks for joining us again. Last time we spoke, what was it, Monday, we were talking just about how important librarians are. How do we keep these librarians with the internet and ChatGPT and YouTube? How do we keep these librarians in their wealth of knowledge?
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners. What has changed? It's that the librarians themselves, as we have listened to the story from Jeff, if you look at their programs, there is now a need to capacitate our users to be able to work in this actually 5IR environment, where now you have this generative AI growing. I mean, once you go into any social media now, you are likely to be bombarded by not less than 5 AIs for whether it's for cooking or is. So you need now to capacitate the users to have the skill to say, this is what I can do for this is what I can do for this. And we librarians, we are the better person who normally we have already begun even to identify, to say, these are useful. This would cost you money if you want to use this. This one you can use it, but this is how you can use it to verify the information, because AIs can be very creative. You know, they can come up with a story. Even now, Jon Gericke, you can become a scientist from America, because we once visited America. Your name was mentioned with another. Maybe you were visiting that university.
All right.
Thinks that name, the university, and then all of a sudden you study there. So what we do as librarians, then we capacitate our users. When we started, it was about information literacy, teaching them how to find, where to find, how to evaluate information, that this one is useful, this one you can use. But now we are helping them to evaluate the digital environment, to say, yes, you cannot wish it away. It's like one academic says, AI is like it's like this music, rock music. You know, when people were growing, they were listening to classic. Then all of a sudden there was this rock music, and the elderly people were not welcoming it, but it took over.
Yeah.
So you cannot wish AI, but what we do as librarians, we prepare our users to say you can use it, but this is how you can use it. So that's how we always remain relevant throughout the years.
And the challenge for you to remain relevant and to be able to stay with technology, and because you don't want to get left behind either.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely yes. Because you see, that's the nature. Because I'll tell you a simple example. When COVID hit the country, one of the best COVID-ready departments, whether in universities or in the country, was libraries, because most of their information was already digital. They were already offering digital services.
Right.
You can get into any website of any institution. You'll see with libraries, they've got live chat, they've got robots, chatbots. They've got. So we were COVID ready. And whilst everybody was trying to catch up, learning how to use the online environment, the librarians, it was like, that's what we do daily.
That's what you do. All right, Charlie, we have to leave it there, unfortunately, but thank you to what you and all the librarians do, and hopefully it won't be a lost art, and we will be able to get that free information. It's free around the country. Charlie Molepo, thank you very much. President-elect of the Library and Information Association of South Africa. I was amazed. I thought I'd have to pay some sort of fee, like a R5 or a R10 or a $20 or something. Go to the library. It was free. They give you a little number. There we go. And there's stuff online now as well. They're just doing great work. You with SAFM. Coming up still, we will be talking more about the Free State's Provincial Social Compact Imbizo. The MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development in the province aims to accelerate the department's food security program. We'll find out what that's about, and then we will have our bonding session. All of that in the next hour and a half. It's just gone 4:30.
Thank you, John. In your headlines, friends and family of former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC Jon Gericke are happy that he's a free man. Gericke was released on parole at Uppington in Northern Cape this afternoon. Freedom Under Law will launch a legal challenge against the Judicial Service Commission's decision regarding appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This comes after the October leg of the JSC interviewed 10 candidates for 4 vacancies in the country's second highest court, but only appointed 2. And the United Nations has appealed for an immediate ceasefire in northern Myanmar, where ethnic armed groups launched an offensive against the military 2 weeks ago. The UN said a pause was crucial to allow aid to reach almost 50,000 people in Myanmar's northern Shan state, and that it says have been displaced by the violence. Details on these and other stories at 5 with Greg House for SAFM News. My name is Luyanda Maume, and I'm out.
SAFM. Guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Weekend Friday traffic. Is it different, Rob Byrne? Does it feel better on the roads on a Friday?
It's generally a light day. You've got the hybrid setup, haven't you, for work? Some days at the office, some days at home. Friday's always a home day, where possible, obviously. So lighter volumes, but we're not without major backlogs. And the big one is going out of Joburg through to Pretoria. Big crash, multiple lanes closed between Old Joburg Road and Brockfontein interchange. That queue is right the way back at Buccleuch. So if you're coming out of Joburg, heading up to Midrand, Centurion or Pretoria, get onto some side roads. They'll be busy, but they won't be as busy as the N1. It's absolutely chock-a-block. Buccleuch right through to Brockfontein. It's a big enough crash to hold you up on the southbound side as well. Also, just in Cape Town, we're watching some delays turning into Mitchell's Plain on the R300. That's coming off the M7 Jakes Curville Drive. Pedestrians being knocked down between the M7 and Stock Road, and there's some queuing pressure running east along that section of the R300. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumin Khapeli.
All right, I'm keeping a right eye on the cricket. South Africa against Afghanistan. Tell me what you got.
Well, let's start things off with football this hour. UAE Pro League club Al Wada has terminated the contract of coach Peter Mosimane after 4 months in charge. Musimane's departure comes as a great surprise because the club is in the top half of the Pro League table after winning 4 of their 7 games this season. He was reported to be ill about a week ago, but had been back at work before parting ways with Al Wada. And right now, the big question is, where is he going? He's been strongly linked with joining Ali's Cairo's rivals, Zamalek, but others are linking him with a vacant job at Kaizer Chiefs. Only time will tell where he will go this time around. Then Orlando Pirates coach Jose Rivero remains or claims that he can already spot the detailed changes that Kevin Johnson has implemented in Kaizer Chiefs during his brief period in charge. The two sides square off in the Soweto Derby at the FNB Stadium tomorrow afternoon, with the Spanish mentor expecting a tactical battle. And here he explains what he's picked up on Johnson's influence in just 2 games.
They are doing changes already. You can see in the recent games there are some certain things that are new, especially in the build-up. They also, players like Dolly coming back play an important role in the way that they want to play.
He even believes that it's unlikely to give a conclusive idea of Johnson's approach as interim coach of Chiefs.
Whatever happened on Saturday, I think it's still too early to have a judgment or conclusion about what the coach Kevin is trying to look with the team. Is that an advantage for us? Who knows? Maybe when we manage to get the result, one of the observations in the end probably, especially from you guys, is going to be that can be an advantage.
Talking about Chiefs goalkeeper Itumeleng Nkune says that he's not ready to retire yet, contrary to the statement that was released by the club at the beginning of the season. If you remember, Chiefs said that this would be the former Bafana Bafana captain and number 1's last professional contract, and he would be in a transitional season into retirement.
That is also not guaranteed yet. It will depend with my performances on the field. Every player that is registered in the team is willing to work harder, is willing to compete for a place, and is willing to give his all for the team in every opportunity he gets. So it's not difference to me whenever I'm given an opportunity not to perform, so that I can get a new contract. Because I did mention at the start of the season that my body can still carry me until I'm 40 plus. If Buffon could do it until 45, El Hadari could do it until 44. Who am I at the age of 36 to entertain the fact that someone has an idea that Itu must retire, then I must also entertain that idea.
Interesting. Moving on to cricket news. Cricket South Africa has named a provisional 18-player SA Under-19 squad for the Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup to be held in Sri Lanka from the 13th of January to the 4th of Feb. The finalised 15-player list and 3 non-travelling reserves will be announced in December. Lions batter David Tiga will captain the side, which includes 5 new players to the SA Under-19 setup, and Tiga was part of the squad that toured Bangladesh in July for a 5-match youth ODI series and finished as the top run scorer with 205 runs at an average of 41. Just taking a quick look at the Cricket World Cup, where South Africa are still chasing 245 that was set by Afghanistan. I see that Aiden Markram just went out. So waiting for the score just to see how far South Africa is doing right now. But yeah, they just 117 for 3. Ending things off with athletics, South Africa's most prominent marathon runner, Stephen Mogoka, strongly criticized Athletics South Africa over his exclusion from the Operation Excellence program. The OPEX is an initiative endorsed by SASCOC, which was designed to support athletes with the potential of qualifying and excelling at major global sporting events. Now, Mogoka was left out at last year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, leading him to express his dismay at the unfair treatment despite his current status as the nation's premier marathon runner.
Because my national federation, I believe it was last year, I was informed that I'm unable to go to the Commonwealth Games due to the criteria that I did not meet. And when I was told that the message came from SASCOC. But now when I hear from NOC of SASCOC, they say they get names, they get everything from the National Federation. So for me, I'm confused. For one. Secondly, I'm emotional. Because it shows that there is no transparency. And when there is no transparency, what do we do? Because
on the note, it's a wrap from my side. I'll have more on other sports in the next hour. I actually have some great news for Mamelodi Sundowns fans, but you gotta wait. With that said, it's a wrap from my side. For SAFM Sport, I'm Dumi Nkapele.
Everyone is looking for value. There's value, then there's ABSA value. At ABSA, finding it is easy, with value that goes so much further and gives you cash back in your pocket to use for the things you need. Stand a chance to win your share of 5 million rand in cash when you take up an ABSA credit card.
Join the bank that does more and elevate to amazing value. Apply for an ABSA credit card or package today. Offer for a limited period. Learn more at absa.co.za. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Borussia Mönchengladbach knows that only a win will make their plan to get to the top half a success. But VfL Wolfsburg's game plan is to grab victory away from home to cement their top half position.
This is the Bundesliga. Football as it's meant to be.
Catch the exciting clash between Borussia Mönchengladbach and VfL Wolfsburg this Friday, 10 November at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
#We love it here.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
And it's good afternoon today to Paswane Mpahlele, Senior Portfolio Manager at Makwe Fund Managers. Paswane, I see people still need clothes.
Yeah, people still do need clothes, so John. Afternoon to you and your listeners, eh? We're looking at Foschini Group there. The guys are the big retailers there. And looking at the results for the first half ended September. The guys have managed to navigate the challenging consumer environment fairly well, influence where the consumers were spending less and lesser, and because we can see in their turnover numbers they were up, we're seeing their revenue line up 12.9%, and this just shows the guys are not doing as bad as one would expect. I mean, like, just zoom into the African business, it provided a lot of support. We're seeing that there's some resilience in their operating environment, despite load shedding hitting them hard, losing around 287,000 hours. The guys managed to sell some more of their goods. The turnover was up 17.3%, largely driven around the clothing and homeware category. But when you jump down the numbers and you see the jewelry and cosmetics, they didn't do so well, and it's obviously because it's a discretionary in its nature, the product. But and then when we see that their margins therefore took a knockdown 2.5, as therefore they had to keep up more inventory. But the guys are working on clearing more of that through promotional discounts, and the good news is that this trend would hold for the industry. We'll come across more discounts. But looking at the operations in London and Australia, they faced a tough operating environment. Not surprising that they did highlight this, and this is because consumer confidence is under pressure and they're not spending much, and this is all because things are normalizing post that COVID process and the free money they've been getting at that side. Looking at the general big numbers, gross profits rose by 7.7%. Meanwhile, headline earnings per share, the profit as per headline earnings per share was down 15.3%. But the guys declared an interim dividend of 150 cents per share, and shareholders were happy. The stock was over 4%.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
17 minutes to 5. We will get more business again in an hour's time. Are we going to do the MEC interview? Are we doing the MEC? Are we going to do this first? Let's start to build up towards our bonding session, because my guest here, Tumi, is still here. Hello, Tumi.
Hey.
Are we allowed to talk about things just because we can?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. Wait, I'm going to put my headphones on. There we go. And also, special guest in the studio, and I'm really excited about my special guest because she's... Are we allowed to say that you were famous? That's the point of why we're having the conversation. That microphone, yeah.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Where? Still.
No, you see, you are, but the point of the conversation is that you were really, really, really famous. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm still.
She still is.
Nestrum Zanele Nyakale is here. How's it? Thanks for
Good
coming
on
in.
you. Thank you for inviting me.
Did you just come from another floor of the building then?
Yes, Lisadia fam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where were you? Where's Lissetti?
Lisadia fam is here. -2.
Oh, they still got you downstairs.
Yeah.
Because we got the view. Look.
I can see.
Sun is shining.
Ah, man. But we will get there one day. One step at a time.
Yes.
So, first of all, how are you then, Nestrum?
I'm good.
What are you doing these days?
I'm doing a lot. Hey?
You're back.
Yes, no, man.
She
I
was
was
never
still
gone.
here. I was never gone. Always present, still representing, still relevant. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm a station administrator, City FM. I've been a presenter for more than 11 years. Experience galore, talented galore, satisfaction guaranteed. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a professional DJ. I'm a board member of Woodward School somewhere in Soweto. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a businesswoman. A lot is happening.
To me, we're in front of royalty here.
Royalty
Huh?
at its peak.
Are you a fan?
Hey?
Are you a fan?
Yes, I've always been a fan from. Do you
When-
still dance?
You know, now I'm like on top of the world.
Really?
You know when you no, I'm not aging. Let me not say that. Yeah, but the energy, it's doubling, you know. Yeah, I multiply.
Nice.
Yes, I dance like I'm a piano kids, they know me. It's
Is
like,
it?
yo, this is, I'm like, you are saying sister, why don't you say this mama?
Tell me, it all started when you were 15 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you how old you are now, but what was it like at 15 being thrown in the lime like that? Remind me of the band. What did you do?
Abashante.
Abashante.
I came up as a rapper and a backing vocalist. I remember South Africans were mad. This young kid, what is she doing there? You know, and my family also, they were like, no, man, this one, she's going to be rebellious. She's going to take drugs, leave school, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was like I was scared, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I have what it takes. Why not? You know? Yeah.
All right, I have to say that if you want to see Zanele's energy, then you have to tune into our streaming right now. Right, we're on YouTube. We're also we're on Facebook as well. We're on Facebook. Are we on Twitter? Are we live on Twitter? I didn't know you could do that. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Obviously, you can listen to us if you want to, but if you want to see what's happening in here, it's complete chaos. Because Zanele is just this little bundle of energy. Hey?
Yes.
Are you all right? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
no, I'm cool. You know, normally when I introduce myself, I am very loud, very crazy, very energetic, and you know, it's like nasty. I used to say nasty, the crazy one, but no, I'm no longer. Now it's nasty, the chosen one.
Yes.
Because I am still here, and there's a reason why. You know, so I am the chosen one, the living young legend.
We've got an hour of this.
You just found your match, John.
On Friday afternoons, like I'm chilling, a glass of wine, but no. Zanele comes in here. She's like a fireball. And you can give us a call as well. You want to talk to Zanele? We're gonna introduce her officially, formally later on as well. We put a little thing together from you. All right, and we're going to find out more of your history. We have to be a little bit depressing about this because the headline, the reason we've got you in here, was because what happens to your friends when you're not so famous anymore? Why is it when you look for help, no one's willing to help?
They disappear.
You got stories?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like everybody is there, but they are not present. And it's like, hello, people, I am drowning. Can't you see? It's like, we'll see you second half twice. We're busy with our things, you know?
I hear a song coming there. Right? Write it down quickly now. Help, I'm drowning. Where are my friends? There's a song. All right. Tumi, have you had experiences of needing a friend and nobody's been around?
Well, I mean, I haven't been famous.
Nobody's that famous.
This famous. But I mean, yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about friends where when all things are doing well, you're all friends, and then when things are going downhill, no one is anywhere to be found to help you out.
Yeah, I've got that story as well. I was on another place where I was working, and I thought people that I was working with were my friends. And that was a lesson that I got. People you work with, and to me, I love you. You're a lovely lady.
Yeah.
But we're colleagues. And if worst came to worst, you go, oh, there's always somebody else. But these people I really thought I was friendly with. But nuh-uh. When you need them, there were maybe one or two that were.
Is that why you say you don't have friends?
I have no friends. I got no friend. I lie. I've got a friend. I've got a friend who's very angry that I'm only leaving work at 6 o'clock today because she wanted to have. We're going to have a little wine.
Nice.
Because there's a little celebration I'm having quietly to myself today, and she said, "No, you can't do that by yourself." So she's coming around, and we're going to have a 6:30 wine.
Okay.
So Zanella, it's your fault.
Wow, what I do?
I do think that the bonding session. If this was my show, I'm just letting you know there would be wine for the bonding session.
So bring it on.
Talking while sipping on wine.
Me, I have mine. Me, you know what? I wouldn't have one because I am naturally drunk. So imagine, when I take wine or alcohol, it's vice versa. You see, I am so energetic. You know, you can see the vibration. Having a wine, I'm going to sleep. So I'm like, I'm cool. This is my...
Naturally drunk.
Yes, I'm naturally drunk.
All right, let's just naturally, high on life, I think. All right, we're going to take a break, ladies, if you don't mind. We're going to have a continue. Our bonding session seems to have started really early today. Zanele Nyakale is here, and we've also got Tumi Nkapele, who is our super sports lady. You're going to do headlines as well. You're going to be able to manage all of this.
I'm going to disappear for a while and then come back.
No, there's no disappearing. Not with Zanele. Please, take a quick break.
Hallo Michelle, hope you're well. You know, I'm not very lucky for online internet shopping things after Uncle Donnie got a second loan on his house to pay for some escort in Portugal's child to go to university. But listen, I'm addicted to this We Buy Cars auctions. Every day you can buy cars. My finger is jikkerig on the smells. I'm going to click anytime now because I want a fancy fast car. But my husband is making me so moeg. I'm sommer listen auction him. I nogal wonder how much I will get.
We Buy Cars, the best place to buy a car by far.
Manchester United are only interested in maximum points to keep their fans delighted.
Fernandes, a captain's goal.
However, Luton Town FC are not willing to travel back to Kenilworth Road without the valuable 3 points.
If it's a Tahitom, listen to that noise.
Will the Red Devils seal victory at Old Trafford, or will the Hatters prevail away from home? This is the Premier League. Catch the thrilling encounter between Manchester United and Luton Town FC. The Saturday, 11 November at 4 p.m. Live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to Jon Gericke on the Station of the Year.
All right, let's get serious for a few minutes. Let's find out more about the Free State Provincial Social Compact Imbizo. The MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development in the province aims to accelerate the department's food security program in the Thabo Mofokeng district. Saki Mokoena is the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development in the Free State. Saki, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us about this roadshow. What are you doing?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and the listeners. We had a social compact today as a Free State government. As agriculture, we are the district champion. We engaged today with the social partners in terms of the business community, the role players in terms of the farming space, and generally all the spheres where government operates. To interact about the role that the Free State government plays in terms of the current fiscal year and over the MTF. Now, we also link this strongly with the food security issue, whereby we were also providing about 2 tractors to female farmers who are into the space of grain production, where they were given about 93 kilowatt tractors plus the disc reapers. So we integrated what the Department of Roads is doing to provide the road infrastructure for the rural areas, as well as the main arteries, what the education is doing in terms of the schooling, what health. So an integrated district development model is what we came to consolidate today in terms of the billions of rands that have been spent to deliver infrastructure to our people, and most importantly, the water issue. In Kwakwa, the progress made around the pickup of them.
MEC, what are the people saying in reply to what you're saying?
The issue is our people appreciate and accept the work that we are doing, but they are also asking for more in view of the challenges that they were seated with on issues of growth and employment, particularly in an area that is hard hit by poverty like this one, where the factories or industries are simply not here. So they are asking for the government intervention to stabilize number of areas to make sure that we bring back factories. We use agriculture really to position the region to create agro-processing factories that can create employment for them. So they are happy, but at the same time they know that there's more that has got to be done.
And are you willing to be able to do, and are you able to do what they're asking?
We do. We don't sleep. We've got no time to rest. Remember, the ruling party rolled out this manifesto a long time ago. We are now implementing. We are no longer at the stage where we make a promise. When we come to you, we come with the delivery in hand. We point what we have done. We rolled out number of roads today that are internal within the Maluti area as well as in the district. Those are the roads that are fully appointed. Contractors are on site. Work is being done. So we are not sleeping in the Free State.
The Free State's been struggling over the last few years because of maybe some poor leadership. Is that being turned around, and are the people on the ground seeing change?
There is certainly change. If you remember, the state of our roads has been quite a challenge. We can now tell you that all the major road that are in the Free State, contractors have been appointed. The last one will be the R26 from Ladybrand, Ficksburg down to Bethlehem. Together with Sandral, that will a pronouncement to be made in the next 2 weeks. And that is the last major artery in terms of our roads. So that is key. Two, you know that we have placed agriculture at the center of the economic drive in the Free State to make sure that we empower our people, we give them tools for household gardens, but also push those that are involved into the space of commercialization where they can grow and even employ more of our people. So we've got serious challenges, but the kind of leadership that we have now, there's no time to waste. There's no space to rest. We work for our people, and our work speaks for itself.
We just did an interview about water quality in Limpopo. What's the state of drinking water getting out to these rural development areas or the rural areas that you're developing?
Look, one of the things that we have in this area as the Free State, it is indeed the challenge of water, but we do have some couple of dams, and the quality is not really a major problem, except in the area of Kwakwa, Malutiapofu, where they've been struggling with the water. Together with the National Department, the Deputy Minister Mashoba was here, where they went to the figure parts for them to check on the work that has been done. It's at about 95%. It should be handed over by mid-December, and that should ascertain the quality of the water that has been delivered to our people. But in overall, I can say about 95% of the quality, in fact, the Free State has got a necessary or the required quality. There will be challenge here and there, but we are dealing with them with quite energetic and a focused government.
MEC, we've got a couple of messages coming in from other people in the Free State saying, when are you coming to us? Are there going to be more Imbizos?
Yes, we are going from here. We'll be going to the district or the region of Mangaung, where we'll be interacting with our people. We'll also be empowering women as we are still rolling out the final of the remaining elements of our August programs that we're dealing with the women's empowerment. We will be going to the areas of Tabanchu. There's fantastic agricultural implements that will be given to our people so that they can stand up and do things for themselves as women.
MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development in the Free State, Saki Mokwena, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
2 minutes to 5, you're with SAFM. We've got our bonding session in a moment with superstars Nela Nyakale. She just off air was saying about what we're talking about. Why is it when you look for help, no one's willing to be there? Do you have friends? And then somebody else has also said, what about family? We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's squeeze a couple of voice notes in from earlier topics so we've got time to do the bonding session.
I just want to give it a year in Eastern Cape. You see? Igama lakhe liyavela uNzimande If I am not mistaken, he was issued 200,000 rand by Ubabu Madishe. He refused, and then the matter just goes out. Nobody follow that anymore. Where is the money for NSFAS? Now again, he's involved with these billions, millions of rands. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mbalula is a man of confrontation. I'm not surprised of him. He's just talking like a man who could save the ANC. Look at him now. He's corrupt. The man is guilty. Thank you.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, John. Moses and Teben. John, you see, law-abiding citizens have no lights here in South Africa. It's only criminals who has rights. And the sad of the story is, you see, law-abiding citizens are the same people, same persons we support these criminals. You see, sometimes I wonder why we come on the air and crying, yet law-abiding citizens are the ones supporting these criminals. Clapping hands for criminals, dancing for criminals. At the end of the day, we are complaining. We are confused nation. Moses Teben.
Good morning, John and SIFM listeners. This is Anino Mas in Cape Town. John, Ramaphosa is the last person to speak about corruption because he claimed to becoming a president so that he can sweep away the corruption. And he's the one who's so corrupt to the core. So he's the last person to speak about corruption. I don't care if other people are corrupt than other, but his ticket to be a president, he said he was a Tumamina so that he can run a government free of corruption. And he's a corrupt one. This is Anino Mas in Cape Town. Thank you.
The bonding session after the news at 5 o'clock with Greg Hurst.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Thank you, John, and good afternoon to you. John Block's family speaks on his release and calls for a ceasefire in Myanmar. The friends and family of the former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC Jon Block are happy that he's a free man. He was released on parole at Uppington in the Northern Cape today. Block was sentenced to 15 years for corruption and money laundering in 2016. He took the Correctional Services Department to court, claiming that he qualifies for parole if presidential remissions are taken into account. Block's wife, Nolatando.
We have gone through so much as a family. We've gone through all trials and tribulations. We've followed the law. We've respected, the arm of the law.
Freedom Under Law will launch a legal challenge against the JSC's decision regarding appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This comes after the October leg of the Judicial Service Commission interviewed 10 candidates for 4 vacancies in the Supreme Court of Appeal. However, the body only recommended Judge Faiza Khatri-Sidlwane and Judge Anahwele, who've since been appointed by the President, and left the remaining 2 vacancies unfilled. Kani Mapanga reports.
The JSC has since provided written reasons behind this decision. Freedom Under Law, however, says that the reasons provided are quote-unquote inadequate and do not address the significant public concerns which were raised about the appointments in the immediate aftermath of the interviews. As a result, the organization Freedom Under Law has resolved to take the JSC's decision in relation to the appointments to the Supreme Court of Appeal on review and is instructing its legal representatives accordingly. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The trial of 3 youths charged with the murder of 4 family members has been adjourned until January next year for judgment. Both the state and the defence wrapped up their closing heads of arguments. 3 youths, one of them a relative of the deceased members, are on trial for the murders. The 22-year-old woman, believed to be the mastermind of her parents' and siblings' murders, has denied having confessed to orchestrating their murders in 2016. She allegedly hired her friends, who are cousins, to carry out the murders at the family home near Brits after she allegedly stole her father's gun and handed it over to the pair. 4 people arrested for allegedly submitting fraudulent procurement orders for PPE worth over R5.5 million have appeared in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court east of Johannesburg. They face theft and fraud charges and have been released on bail of between R5,000 and R8,000. The Hawks say they submitted the fraudulent orders to a complainant claiming to be from the Health Department. Hawk spokesperson Wendy Nkabi.
Complainant then gave the goods to the suspect, assuming it was delivered to the Department of Health, but it was never received nor the payment. The 3 accused were granted bail of R8,000 each, and Ibrahim Ken was granted R5,000 bail.
The UN's appealed for an immediate ceasefire in northern Myanmar, where ethnic armed groups have launched an offensive against the military. The BBC's Celia Hatton has more.
The UN said a pause was crucial to allow aid to reach the almost 50,000 people in Myanmar's northern Shan state that it says have been displaced by the violence. Key trading hubs on the Chinese border have been seized in coordinated attacks by an alliance of ethnic groups, although frequent breakdowns in communications across the region's jungle terrain are making it difficult to verify casualty numbers. China has also urged all parties to stop fighting, saying it will ensure stability at its border.
Top story. Friends and family of the former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC John Block are happy that he's a free man. He was released on parole at Uppington in the Northern Cape earlier today. That's SAFM News. I'm Greg Goos.
In your sports this hour, free Gautrain runs for Sundowns fans going to attend the African Football League final at Loftus Stadium. 3 youngsters in for Bafana 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, and South Africa need 94 runs from 114 balls to beat Afghanistan. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
And it's still very heavy on the N1 up through Midrand on your way to Centurion, direction Pretoria. Today, a major crash scene between the old Joburg Road and the Brockfontein interchange. Multiple lanes are closed to clear it up. The backlog is heavy. It is super thick all the way down to Buccleuch interchange. So from the top of Joburg right through Midrand, deep into Centurion is the backlog. You've got heavy pressure as well. The R55 Woodmead through the Blue Hills on the alternative. You've got a lot of congestion on the R101, Pretoria Main, Old Joburg on the eastern side of the highway. The trick is to avoid turning onto the M1 at Buccleuch. If you're coming up from Limbro Park or coming up from Four Ways, coming out of Joburg, make sure you're picking alternative routes that are further away from the N1 and certainly the localised corridors as well. It's all very slow there. Durban, bit of pressure coming out of town. Spaghetti Junction to Pavilion Mall on the N3. Roadworks on Bel Air Road causing delays this afternoon from Brick Turner passing Chief Abelatuli down towards the M7. That's a bit unusual. Cape Town, still a bit of pressure on a Friday afternoon at Hospital Bend. That also unusual. And a collision involving a pedestrian seems to be fatal. R300 going into Mitchell's Plain. Backlogs from the M7 Jakes Curvell Drive on the Samora Michelle side. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Gautrain is for the legends who make moves to save and pay from as little as 45 Rand from Pretoria to Midrand. It's for our clever who turn 5-litre bottles into workout dumbbells. And for the slim oaks who bring a home-cooked scuff team to work every day. So when it comes to travel, make moves that save and pay from as little as 45 Rand from Pretoria to Midrand Station. Gautrain, for people on the move.
28 years ago, 2 great outfits of global rugby met in the Rugby World Cup final.
The Springboks and the All Blacks.
The Boks had a good day in the office in 1995 and lifted the Webb Ellis Cup on home soil. Amabokoboko have silenced the All Blacks once again.
At the Rugby World Cup Final France 2023 in search of their 4th title. La Zanzi Africa.
Back-to-back victors and 4-time champions of the Rugby World Cup.
An extra seat has been booked for a flight back to Africa Tonga for the Webb Ellis Cup to travel with the world's best rugby national team. Amabokoboko. Congratulations to the Springboks.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Beyond the headline on SAFM, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. You are listening to Jon Gericke on SAFM.
For the next 53 minutes, I have a co-host. It means I don't have to work so hard, which is always nice.
I'm here.
Zanele Nyakale, known as Nestrum, and now DJ Nesty.
Nesty. I used to say nesty. Still crazy, but no, I've changed. Nesty. The chosen one.
The chosen one. Use N-E-S-T-Y. Nest, like that nest.
Nest, as in baby's food.
What is it with it? Where does it come from?
No, because I've joined 999, which is the stable that I used to work for, So I was 15 years. I was the youngest in the industry.
Yeah.
So Arthur, he decided to say, well, now you are young.
Yeah.
You are Nestam.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
see.
nestam as in baby's food.
Okay, I get it. All right. We've got a very serious topic, which we'll talk about, but we're going to keep it light because Zanele is just light. But by way of introduction, let's introduce you to Zanele. It's my youth right there. That Jam Alley. Hey? When was it? Thursdays? Fridays?
No, Fridays.
Fridays.
Yes.
So,
Fridays, 6:30. So, give me
My darling, my darling, my darling, my darling. Oh, my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling. Oh, my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling. Oh, my darling, my darling, my darling, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
all right. A little way of introduction. Do you still know all the Jam Alley
Yo,
stuff?
me, yes.
Huh?
Yeah, so, give me money. Bottom right, top center.
That's right. Top center.
Bottom right, middle center.
Middle center, that's right. How old were you when you were doing Jam Alley?
Because I started at the age of 15, and then Jam Early, I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Because at the age of 22, I became pregnant. Then it was the end of me on television because I got pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. 086 000 2032. Phone lines are open and voice notes open as well. 0614 104 107. Do you feel lonely sometimes? You're surrounded by people and it feels like nobody's there when you really, really need them. Zanele, you have a story about that. Tell me your story.
I can write a book.
Yeah.
For the fact that I'm in the entertainment industry, there was a time where I was like down and out. That's where you really need support. From family, from friends, from your community. Okay, I see community and friends, but family, they are the worst.
Yeah?
No, I'm telling you, they are the worst. They will mouth you, they will talk about you. Sometimes I even took a decision that I'm not going to go to family gatherings. 1, I don't have a car. Imagine. 2, when it's funerals, we need to go to the cemetery. It's like, this one, where is your car? Things like that. I'm like, you know what? I am taking a decision. I'm just going to be hibernating. People are there, but they are not noticing that, guys, I am drowning. Help me.
Did you ask for help? See, this is the thing, right?
I think sometimes you don't have to ask.
Okay.
For the fact that, they can see. When you were happening, you used to help people. Me, I started, earning at the age of 15, 16. When people were like desperate, they will come to me. I will give you, remember that time, 220 was such a lot of money. 200, 300. I'm like our sister Madlis at that time, helping people. But you can see now, the way I am behaving, you're even shying away, I don't need to say, hello, people, you can see, because sometimes asking, it's so difficult.
Very, yeah.
Because you know exactly the answer that you're going to get. Sorry, I would love to help, but I can't. I would love to help, but I can't. It's like, I don't want,
Did you have people that saw you? Lots. Eh?
This one, in a Kasi talk, they will say, Uwile. It's like you are down and out. You are at your lowest. And they will say, Uwile. No, this one, she's crazy. Look at her. Because things have changed now. You are no longer, hip and happening. Yeah. And they will say funny things. Imagine me, I had to take a taxi and a bus. From after Jam Early, things started.
This is after you got pregnant.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it was tough. It was tough, and even friends. When days are dark,
yeah,
friends are few. Definitely. It's like that.
Is that, I mean, we're here to talk about friends, but is it also a message for starting kids off too young? And, or you know, when I just think of the KTV kids, there was the Jam Alley kids and all the other children. Is it not too young for them to be reaching that kind of stardom and that kind of money and fame?
Our journey are different, you know, and then when you are born with a certain talent, and only God will decide when it is your time. If you are 15 or if you are 16 or you are 13, if it's your time, it's your time, you know, so there is nothing you can do. But I think, people, they have to learn, you know, how to support one another. I know I was very young and had money, not lots of money, but, you know, to survive, having a salary and buying grocery for my family, because me, I was a breadwinner.
Okay.
Yeah, for the fact that maybe I had to be introduced in the industry at the very early age. That's where God said, that's how you're going to help your family, you know. But when things started going, sometimes I remember asking someone, in my family, and I said, can you please lend me 100 rand? You know what she said? And I said to her, please don't say I'm neggy. And I said, yeah, Velo, you are neggy. You know, and forgetting that the time I was working, the time I was living, you know, when you say you want what I would help without saying anything. You know, it's tough, bruh.
When you look at the ones that have stayed with you over that period of time, and you think about those dark days, could you have survived without them? How important are they in your life today now still?
I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I'm one person, very straight to the point, shoot to kill with my mouth. My mom.
Yes.
Yeah. She was the pillar. You know, she was everything. And also my partner, he was there, you know, and and my dad and my stepdad and my brother, but anyway, he passed on.
Close family.
Yeah, those were people that I knew, you know, if I'm going such, you know, through difficult times, I knew that they will come through for me. But others, they were rejoicing. Let me put it like that. They were rejoicing, like, when we can see you are drowning, and you want us to come and help you swim. Yeah. If you can swim, if you can't swim, drown. We'll see you second half twice. It's like
That's rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
So these are your mates that were celebrating your fame, but they were happy to see you have lost it all.
Yes.
Or not be there anymore.
Yes, it's like, no, we want to see ukuthi uzophelelaphi. That's how the kasilingo, you know, you think you are there, you are flying. Let's wait when you come and hit the bottom rock.
Okay, my guest is DJ Nasty, or Zanella Nyakale, if you want. Your friends call her DJ. Their friends call you DJ.
They call me
DJ.
Nestum. Hey, DJ,
Nestum.
Can you play that song for me? I'm here, why not?
You got to watch her on streaming. If you're not watching us on streaming, you're missing out on a lot. If you're obviously if you're in the car, don't do this. But if you're watching it on streaming, how's it going? We're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook as well. Go find us at SAFM Radio. I'm even looking into the camera while I do that. That's your camera over there.
Oh, hi.
There's your
Hello.
Because we're visual radio. It's really quite. See, at least you look good on the radio. This is not designed for that. You see.
For what?
I'm looking for compliments. Just say you look good, John.
You look good, John.
Thank you very much. Tumi's coming in the minute. She's wearing a Proteas shirt. She's going to tell us what the Proteas are doing. Proteas are going to win. Okay, I want to talk about the dark days. Before we're going to take calls as well, and we'll take voice notes as well. I'm just trying to see if there's anything coming through. Not yet, but it's open line. If you want to talk to DJ Nasty and have a conversation with her. And I want to find out from you. That's not you, but from our listener as well, right?
Yep.
Why is it that when you need help, no one is willing to help you? That's why. Where do those people go? And have you ever been that person? And I admitted earlier that I've been that person. And I know a friend of mine. You see, they weren't a friend.
Yeah.
They were like somebody that I knew and I'd met once or twice. And then I got that the message first, say, "Have you got 100 rand?" But I didn't know them well enough to give the $100. But I lay in bed that night. I couldn't sleep. I remember lying in bed thinking, this person, as you said earlier, to ask for 100 rand it takes so much that to hold up the sign, to say, please, can you help me? And I lay in bed that night. I think, I just should, but I don't know her well enough to just give the 100 bucks. So I felt bad about it. Have you had that experience?
But I mean, but for the fact that you didn't have that close relationship with her or with him, and for the fact that she or he, they knew that I don't have that close relationship with John, but I am so desperate, in such a way that we are not friends, we are not close enough, but I really need help. I am drowning. Hello, can you please come and rescue me? For the fact that you were not that close, but he or she has that guts to ask you for help. It was rough on her side.
Yeah, they asked for money, not for help, though.
Yeah, I mean, for the fact that money, I'm like, I need 100 rand. Even if you're going to give me bread, I don't need bread. I need 100 rand,
We're going to take calls. We're going to take voice notes as well. My guest is superstar Zanele Nyakale. We're going to talk about her career as well, but I want to talk about her friendship and those dark times as well. That's coming up.
Experience a spectacular visual feast.
From Prella to Picasso, Pogela to Pemba.
More than 500 works.
Kolowane, Kandinsky, Kenrich and Clark.
Exploring the diversity and looking to the future.
Visit Breaking Down the Walls, 150 years of art collecting at the Iziko South African National Gallery in the Company's Garden, Cape Town. Open Monday to Sunday from 9 to 5. iziko.org.za.
Manchester United are only interested in maximum points to keep their fans delighted.
Fernandes, a captain's goal.
However, Luton Town FC are not willing to travel back to Kenilworth Road without the valuable 3 points.
If it's a Tahitron, listen to that noise.
Will the Red Devils seal victory at Old Trafford, or will the Hatters prevail away from home? This is the Premier League. Catch the thrilling encounter between Manchester United and Luton Town FC, the Saturday 11 November at 4 p.m. live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good afternoon, John, the team, and all the SFM listeners. This is Incognito in KZN. John, you must remember the old saying of the days of yore. When days are dark, friends are few. That's it. That's just it.
Keep your friends close. No, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah.
You see, because those people, sorry, let's just introduce again. John in for Eldrin. It's Beyond the Headline. It's the bonding session. Where do people go when you are in need? Why is it that when you look for help, no one's willing to help? Zanele Nyakale is here. DJ Nasty gained popularity as the Abashante Group, Jam Alley presenter. You currently work at Lesedi?
Yes, I'm at Lesedi FM from 2006
You
until
kept your
now.
finger on the graveyard shift.
Yes.
They put you late nights. I know what it's like. Weekend late nights.
Sleepless nights,
Yeah.
hey?
No,
Yeah.
didn't have weekends.
You can say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, weekends for me, I'm like, guys, are we going? Like, no, thank you. I have to go to work.
Okay, so I want to understand, and we're going to take calls as well, 086 000 2032. Oh, I've been told on the streaming you don't have the number, so I'm going high-tech. There we go, 086 000 2032. Can you see it? Oh, is the number on the screen? All right, number's on the screen. 086 000 2032, or you can send us a voice note on 0614 104 107. So I'm just thinking of your mindset now, right? You super famous
Yes.
with the band,
Yeah.
super famous from JMA,
Mhm.
got pregnant, and to keep your finger on the pulse,
Yeah.
you decided to join radio, Lesedi.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
But here you are doing late night,
Mhm.
all right? You're suddenly out of mind.
Yeah.
Did-
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. Even,
Yes.
and don't let people say, oh, you're on radio. You were doing 3 to 6 in the morning, right?
No, not 3 to 6. Yeah, it started at 9 until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then it went for 3 to 6. Yes.
3 to
yeah,
6.
You are right. Yes,
Yeah,
3 to 6. Yeah.
I know about you. I read books. So you're kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
Did you hurt? Did the loss of fame hurt you? You got free. I'm sure you used to get free stuff and,
Yes.
and trips and
Yeah.
holidays and those kind of things.
Yeah, and you, especially bookings.
Right.
You know,
Ah,
I
yes.
see gifts and but bookings.
Extra work.
For the fact that you still have what it takes, and there's a lot that I know I can offer, but for the fact that now you are behind the scenes, there are people who didn't know that I'm doing radio. It's like, where is Nestam? What is happening to her? And then you will get all sorts of stories. Hi, that one, she's down and out. Hi, that one. I'm like, hello, people. I'm behind the scenes, behind the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm a radio presenter. But for the fact that they knew me as Nestam, the performer, Nestam, the TV presenter, every weekend we get booked, interviews, radio interviews, and now things have changed. Now they're saying you are no longer relevant. This Kwaito legends, man, I season bona. And now people, they think like you are sleeping. You are dead, but you are alive.
Sure.
Let's
take some more voice notes. 0614 104 107.
Next time you are as cruel as me, and you possess the heart of Pharaoh, just like me. I mean, I'm saying this in a good way. Look, I don't visit family, I don't visit friends, I don't visit anybody. But last week a friend came to visit me, stole my 2 phones. This one ran 50 phones. Look, the following day I went to buy this one for 1,500. I'll never set a foot at his place. Next time, keep it there. If you have something, you have. If you don't have, you don't have. Never beg from another person. Thank you, my big sister. Be strong. Buting Konki from Indo Indian Cape.
Thank you, brother.
Hi, John. Hello, DJ Nasty. My name is Mbumi. Thank you so much for having this lady. It's one of those faces you wonder, what happened to them? Where are they? But I'm actually curious, in this conversation about when the days are dark, friends of you, where was Mr. Atamafukat? At the time you were still with 999 Music. You're pregnant, you're out of a job in terms of Jam Alley, but what happened with the music and with his company managing you?
Yeah. For the fact that I've joined Jam Alley and then things started to be not to be okay, because we are growing. I cannot be under Arthur's shadow or Arthur's umbrella for forever. I needed to pull my own strings, and see whether I will be able to do things on my own, because I cannot depend on him forever. So on that note, I'm not going to blame him for everything. So I was away from 999. Now I was on my own. So things were difficult, and I couldn't say I have to go back to him and say, please, can you take me back? I am struggling. I think if it was my journey or the phase that I had to go through, let it be. So for real, it was tough. I don't want to lie.
Should he have come to you?
Yeah, maybe.
Hindsight. Sure, a lovely person.
Yeah. It's like, hi, man, I can see you are.
Well, how's it going? Just how are you?
Yeah,
you've got a song in you.
People are going through a lot. They have their own things to worry about.
Yeah.
And then here is Nestam now. She decided to pull her own strings. Now her strings are no longer pulling. And now I must come and rescue her.
Selo in the Free State. Hello, Selo.
Hello, John. Hello, Nesty.
Hi. Dumela. Tsebeng tsa hao.
Once Nesty, always Nesty. John?
Yep.
Next time is my favorite DJ.
Tell us why.
Do graveyard shift for always.
Oh, really?
During the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
That was your show, Graveyard.
We used to call each other the same names. Ekakana Putinesti is from the Puti family, from the clan of the Putis, the Putis.
Kangaroo.
Yeah, kangaroo.
Donkey.
And I'm a crocodile. I say, Seventa man, Seventa how. He's a good presenter. I like it.
Thank you, brother. I love you too. Thank you so
Thank you, John. Thank you, Honesty.
All right. Hello. See, it's amazing how many people listen to the radio late at night.
Yes.
It makes no sense in my head. Like, what are you doing between midnight and 5? You should be sleeping. Nuh-uh. DJ Nasty's on.
Yeah, especially Saturdays and Sundays. You don't have to go to clubs. I will bring a club at your home. Relax. Where are you going? Relax, I am here. I will give you whatever you need. So imagine this energy at night, especially weekends.
Jam it.
I'm like, I was hoeing, you know. So that's why, like, he still, you can hear that he still misses me.
We got headlines in a minute. Are you still on radio? Is there any besides your DJing?
Yes,
which we're
no,
talk about later?
I'm a office administrator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can see I'm wearing. You must look at me when I'm rocking a suit with sneakers.
We can see it on the TV. It's on there. Stand
it's
up.
Friday.
Let me see.
Hello.
What do you got? Friday.
Hello,
It's not even casual Friday today.
Monday, I'm like.
You haven't
boss lady.
It's the same. It's like I've gone back 20 years or how old is it? No, even more now. 40 years.
Yeah, 40 plus.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, but I don't age and I will never age. Why not?
All right, so Nelly, you got to keep quiet for 15 minutes if you don't mind. We're going to take headlines. We're going to take traffic. Tubi's going to be back with the sport. We got some. We don't do finance on a Friday, so it's shorter than that. It's only 10 minutes. So stay close. News headlines now at 5:30 there with Greg Khos.
Thank you again, John. A quick look at the headlines. A policing expert at Stellenbosch University says organised crime networks are often connected to the state, hence the lack of action by government. Friends and family of the former ANC Northern Cape chairperson and MEC John Block are happy that he's a free man. And Pakistan has opened more centres to house tens of thousands of undocumented Afghan nationals who've been asked to leave the country. A full update at 6 o'clock.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Rob Byrne, good afternoon to you. Last traffic update of the day.
Yeah, thanks, John. Midrand through Centurion on your way to Pretoria. Hard to get a break there. A big crash earlier just by the old Joburg Road exit being cleared, but it caused a major backlog. And then as soon as that collision cleared, the vehicles are broken down in exactly the same spot. So that big backlog really struggling to get a move on. You're sitting in traffic from the Buccleuch interchange, top of Joburg, right through to the old Joburg Road, deep in Centurion territory. Durban today, bit of traffic on your way to Pinetown. The N3 queuing between Spaghetti Junction and Pavilion Mall. N2 South stays busy and heavy from Inanda roadside down towards Spaghetti Junction. And Cape Town, a pedestrian collision on the R300 a little bit earlier, still with us. It's between the M7, Jakes Curville Drive, and Stock Road, AZ Berman. If you're turning into Mitchell's Plain off the M7, Jakes Curville, there will be some delays there. Still fairly slow coming out of the city centre. Bait Truck is quite heavy towards Elevated Freeway. Strand Street from Bait Truck out towards High Level on your way to Sea Point, and Green Point looking slow as well. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkhabele.
Tumi, tell me what's happening in the cricket.
Listen, I'm waiting to see the score there on the TV.
I'm seeing another wicket.
Oh, another wicket. So South Africa is sitting on 182 for 5 after 37 overs. David Miller out. And I think we left with 63 runs to win this one.
Of 77 balls. This is too tight for Afghanistan.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
We'll see if South Africa will be able to make it. But earlier on, Afghanistan were restricted to 244 all out after they won the toss and elected to bat first. Afghanistan's innings were led by Omazai, who scored his maiden century as he made an unbeaten 97 of 106 balls. Gerald Coetzee took 4 wickets. Then in football, some great news for Mamelodi Sundowns fans. Gautrain will be free for supporters wearing Sundowns Sundowns or Wydad Casablanca gear who'll be attending the African football final at Loftus Versfeld on Sunday. The service is available from Park, Sandton, Rhodesfield, Midrand, Centurion and Pretoria stations from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and those wearing their Sundowns gear or the Wydad gear will get an armband, and a shuttle service will run between Hatfield Station and Loftus Stadium. That is from 12 till 7 p.m. while the service from Hatfield Station runs from 7:30 p.m. So just make sure you're wearing your Sundowns gear for you to get on the Gautrain for free. Then in football, still staying with football, Bafana coach Hugo Bruce has named his final 23-man squad for the start of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Rwanda later this month. A 22-year-old trio of Oswin Apollos from Polokwane City, Bradley Cross of Golden Arrows, and Jaden Adams of Stellenbosch FC will join the camp for the first time. And those missing out from the previous camp include Orlando Pirates duo Paseko Mago and Munapule Saleng, as well as St. Louis City midfielder Jabulo Blom. Burnley striker Lyle Foster is also left out following his request to be excused due to mental health issues, which were also confirmed by his Premier League club yesterday. And replacing the 23-year-old forward is Mamelodi Sundowns utility attacker Tapelo Maseko. Now, Bafana take on Benin in their campaign opener at Moses Mabhida Stadium on Saturday, the 18th of November at 3 p.m. before they travel to Butare on Sunday to face Rwanda on the 21st of November. Meanwhile, UAE Pro League club Al Wada have terminated the contract of coach Pitso Mosimane. The club is in top half of the Pro League table after winning 4 of their 7 games this season. Mosimane was reported to be ill about a week ago, but had been back at work before parting ways with Al Wada. And the big question is, where is he going? And he's strongly linked to join Zamalek or Kaizer Chiefs, but only time will tell where he will go. Then in tennis, former world number 1 Naomi Osaka will return to the WTA Tour after a break of 15 months at the Brisbane International warm-up for the Australian Open in January. The 4 times Grand Slam winner last played a WTA tournament at the Pan Pacific Open in Tokyo in late September last year, and she also had her daughter Shai in July this year. The Brisbane tournament will also feature Andy Murray and another twice Australian Open champion in Victoria Azarenka. Well, that's it. It's a wrap from my side. Just a quick update quickly on the Cricket World Cup. South Africa are now sitting on 184 for 5 in 37 overs. They need 61 runs from 73 balls. From my side,
You leaving us?
I'm leaving you.
Did you get your autograph from Nasty C?
I didn't.
She signed your...
Are you calling her Nasty C?
DJ Nasty, sorry.
Like first you say
Nasty,
Nestram.
Nasty, sorry, I meant Nasty C. That's why I was
First you
in
say
my head.
Nestram, and you call her Zanele. Who calls her Zanele?
Zanele is a name. It's written here.
We
It
know
says
her
here,
as
Zanele
Nestam.
Nyakale is the popularly known as Nestam.
Nestam.
Zanele is her name.
Okay.
Her mother is very proud of her name. Her mother was like, "Hey, who's this Nestam?"
But we love her.
You do.
We love her.
Get your signature there. Get
Okay,
your sign.
we'll do that.
All right. Thanks for popping in. It's nice. Lovely to have.
28 years ago, 2 great outfits of global rugby met in the Rugby World Cup final.
The Springboks and the All Blacks.
The Boks had a good day in the office in 1995 and lifted the Webb Ellis Cup on home soil. Amabokoboko have silenced the All Blacks once again.
At the Rugby World Cup Final France 2023 in search of their 4th title. La la Zanzi Afrika.
Back-to-back victors and 4-time champions of the Rugby World Cup.
An extra seat has been booked for a flight back to Africa Tonga for the Webb Ellis Cup to travel with the world's best rugby national team. Amapokopoko! Congratulations to the Springboks.
Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
All right, we are going to get a MoneyWeb market update. Jimmy Moyaha, what's happening in the markets today?
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to the listeners. Not the best way to close out the week. We were doing so well at the start of the week. It seems to have all gone pear-shaped. I'm joined by Wayne McCurry of FNB to help make sense of what happened throughout the week. Good afternoon, Wayne. Thanks so much for taking the time. Resources having another rough day, leading to some of the biggest losers on the day. I mean, I noted the likes of Implats down about 9.2%, Sibanye about 6.5%, Anglo about 6.3%. What happened? Did the market just decide that today was not going to be a good day for resource counters? Wayne?
Sorry, this is all to do with what's happening overseas. Last week, the Federal Reserve Chairman gave a speech which the market interpreted as quite positive, and everything rallied strongly. The rand went down to about 18.20, and then this week, came out of the Federal Reserve again, certain members and the chairman talking again, and the markets interpreted this as negative, and that's why we're seeing the big slide. I mean, the rand's trading up towards 19 again. The mining shares, as you said, have taken a pounding all week. But understand, the mining shares have been taking a pounding for a very, very long time. In Anglo-American Platinum, which is trading close to 600 Rand now, is down from 2,500. And what I think is happening is that the market's in a transition phase. In other words, we know interest rates are at the top or near the top locally and globally, but we're not 100% sure will they still go up a little bit. And we're also not sure when they're going to fall and by how much they're going to fall. And whenever you're at this sort of transition phase, you get huge volatility in the market. Positive one day, negative the other day. I mean, literally 2 or 3 weeks ago, the platinum shares were up 10% in a day. Now they're down 10% in a day. But unfortunately, until we get clear direction on where interest rates are going, specifically overseas, we're not going to get much directional move in the market. We're just going to have this volatility.
I definitely see that point, Wayne, given that financials as well, if we look at the financial counters, they were up on the day and they were the only ones that finished in the green. So very, very clear evidence there that the interest rate conversation still weighing heavily on markets in terms of sentiment. Well, Wayne, I want to look at the rand quickly. You mentioned that those movements, and I had a look at the start of the week, as you rightly said, we were closer to 18 rand. We were about 15 cents away from 18 rand. Now about 15 cents almost away from 19 rand. Yeah. Is this something that going into next week is going to continue to present itself as a level of volatility that could potentially concern the Reserve Bank, given that they're meeting the week after that?
Yeah, look, the Reserve Bank understands rand volatility. They also understand that, as we see with the mining shares, we're in a commodity down cycle, so the rand should be weak. The rand should be somewhere around 18. The 1950 is probably too weak, but if you look forward, you say, okay, if interest rates are cut and the global economy recovers, the rand's going to strengthen significantly. I mean, the rand is incredibly oversold, undervalued at the moment. Same as our all-share index. Our all-share index is probably as cheap as what I've ever seen it, for many, many years. But this is what happens in a commodity down cycle. Our currency gets hit, our share market gets hit, but of course, an up cycle can follow a down cycle. So now we're viewing everything sort of, I suppose you could say, at its worst. Economic growth in South Africa, our share market, our rand. But, over the next 2 or 3 years, that cycle could very easily turn positive. Then the whole outlook changes again. But obviously the Reserve Bank was a lot happier with the rand at 1820 than with the rand at 1890 as far as inflation is concerned. But the one positive thing is the oil price has fallen. So hopefully,
absolutely, $81.
Yeah, hopefully they don't increase interest rates at their meeting.
Yeah, Wayne, as we go into next week, I mean, commodities, as you said, the down cycle can be quite severe, and we're looking at a platinum price now that's sitting at about $846 an ounce, down about almost a full 6%, and critically below $900 an ounce there. So is that cycle more a function of sort of your global factors and the global geopolitical risks that present themselves, and markets are saying, well, commodities at this stage might not be the best, alongside the interest rate conversation, of course, that we've been having?
Well, that's all tied into the same picture, really. When interest rates go up, but understand in America, if you had a bond there, your interest rate on that bond has gone up 400 times, 400%, 4 times. So the global economic growth is slowing down. I'm surprised it's not slowing down quicker. And that's never good for commodities. The same thing's happening in China. Economic growth is slowing down. So we're in a commodity down cycle. And people must always view current circumstances against the backdrop of a commodity cycle, because we're a commodity exporting country. The commodity prices has by far a bigger effect on South Africa than anything else, really, internally or externally. It's a massive influence on whether we do well or do badly.
Well, we'll leave it at that and hope that next week is a better week for the South African picture. Those that are watching cryptos, they are still on the up, and they seem to still be moving ahead off the back of the U.S. news around the potential for Bitcoin ETFs to be approved by the Securities Exchange Commission in the U.S. But we will keep an eye on all of these events and update all of our listeners next week. For now, John, it's back to you and the team.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Take some voice notes in a minute. It is the bonding session. My guest is Nestum.
Yay!
We're just leaving it at that. Tumi says, why are you calling her a whole name? So now, from now on, you are Nestum.
Nest.
DJ Nasty.
Yeah.
DJ Nasty.
DJ Nasty.
For the next 15 minutes, we're doing the bonding session. I think we're going to play one of your jams as well towards the end of the show.
Hey, so I'm going to dance now.
You got we got the cameras.
Yes. I need a stage.
Somebody also says that we're not streaming on X. We are streaming on X. I know, because I can see my own face on X. It's not that one. That's just a rude joke that somebody sent. There it is. You got to scroll down a little bit. We posted it 2 hours ago. And there's me, and you're going to see Nesty in a moment, or Nestum in a moment. The phone numbers are there, 086 000 2032, and you can send us a WhatsApp voice note as well, 0614 104 107. Nestum?
Yes?
Let's see what people think about you.
All right.
John, oh my goodness, I just love Nestum's energy, because, that's how I know her. Nestum dancing and singing and everything. Just enjoy her, positive energy.
Aww.
It is so contagious. It's not funny. And I just went into YouTube right now. I'm driving, by the way. But then I went into YouTube right now, and I'm just looking at her, because her and I are of the same age. We are not going to disclose her order.
25. 25.
Yeah, no, we're 25.
Perhaps some people know. But she's aging gracefully.
Thank
she
you.
Is so beautiful. I'm not going to say anything about you, John, because same age group as well. But
Yeah, nah.
anyway, no shade. Thank you so much. I'm just enjoying the show. I'm driving in the rain. It is just beautiful to hear her on the radio.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, John. It's Botaye in Western Cape. I just want to say to you, all of you guys, have a happy weekend. All of you there, and all of the SAFM listeners, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you.
Hi, John. You've got a great lady there, DJ Nasty. I think one of the best ladies in the country, man.
Best in the country.
I like the voice. The voice is killing me, man. Tebogo Nelspruit in Mpumalanga.
Oh, I'm going to play this one over there.
Good afternoon, John, to your team, to SAFM listeners, and to your guest, Nesta. Yeah, number one, John, on the issue of friends, I mean, even that word, it's a youthful word, So I don't keep friends. I only keep brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I've been through that phase of friends, and yeah, now I've completely cut them off. I don't have any friends. I only have brothers and sisters, And then to Miss Nesta, I still have a huge crush on her.
So do I.
I still have a huge crush on her. I used to spot her in Shawela back in the days, but those days I was caught up with hip hop and lead club and all of these things. But hey, big up to you, my sister.
Thank
you. You are the life, love, and light. Peace.
Huh?
You had that.
Huh? Love, light, peace.
You had
Yeah, I heard it. Let's put that in your CV. An SAFM listener thinks you're the love, light, and peace. Big Cornus in Johannesburg. Hi.
Hi, John, and Zanele Nyakale there.
Nestum.
Hello.
Nestum is the lady. John, I just wanted to check with her. I think you asked her a question of, does she ever ask for help from people?
Yes.
And she said no. She doesn't ask, but because people can see that she's down. And I believe in knocking, you'll be given. I mean, you'll be opened for, and then asking, then you'll be given. So I think sometimes we assume that people know that they should help us. But until we shout and ask, many people give you attention only when you ask. Because remember that people are having a lot of things that they are giving attention to. They may actually turn towards you to assist you when you've asked. And I want your take on that, and I've seen that in my life. When I ask people help, but when I keep quiet, people stand off.
All right,
Thank you, John.
McCordis, we're going to take an ad break, so I'll get her to answer that after the ad break, all right?
Thanks, John.
Lekker, McCordis in Johannesburg. All right, so that's the question. Take a quick ad break, and then you're going to answer that,
All right.
Lekker.
Have you ever noticed how unique the rugby ball is?
You should check out Head High.
The rise of junior rugby stars Mana and Tai.
Vince is not just their stepfather, he's their coach.
Catch the brothers' dream of the black jersey, Head High, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
Hashtag Rugby Drama Galore. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Jon Gericke on SAFM.
John and Feldren, it's the bonding session. Nestum is here. Answer to the question.
Yeah, ask, you will be what?
If you ask, you will receive.
You'll receive, and knock, the door will be open. Yeah. With me, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. I ask to God. I will never go to a person and say, I really need your help. I really need, I once did that. That's why I also don't have friends. Yeah, you're just people. Yeah, hello, hanging around and saying whatever just to, but I don't have friends. I asked this woman 100 rand because I knew that she had money. And she showed me that, hey, look, I have money, and I know I'm suffering. And then I said to her, can you please lend me 100 rand? You know what she did? She went all over Kasi telling people what kind of a poor celebrity she is. Oof. She doesn't even have 100 rand. In our language, uhluphehile. And people came. And I was so heartbroken because I needed that money, And then I told myself, you know what? I'm not going to ask help to anyone. I will kneel down and pray and ask God that I'm going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And then he will bring people who will say, can we assist? Without asking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's worked for you so far.
Yeah, for
You're
me,
doing all right.
I kneel down. I talk to my God. I don't talk to people. I don't ask anything from people, because people will disappoint you, and you will end up taking your life. And I'm not gonna give it.
Not
I'm
gonna
still
do that.
young.
Yeah, you're important.
No,
you
I'm
got
still young.
love, light, and something else. Michael Abramson is here. Grab a microphone, Mike. What's you got? Top sport in an hour and a bit.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Well, busy weekend, John. Double football busy weekend.
It's
Derby weekend.
And African Football League.
The match I'm commentating is Sundowns against Wydad on Sunday.
Yes.
And Sundowns need a 1-0 home win, and then they can bring it home.
But they're down 2-1, right?
They're down 2-1.
Down
So they've
2-1.
got the vital away goal,
Yes.
which helps.
Okay.
And I thought I'd brighten up everybody's day with my bright green.
You have the
Mandela
brightest
t-shirt.
green shirt in the world. What is that?
It's Nelson Mandela Challenge,
Nelson Mandela.
and I was wearing this in Spain where I was recently, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Mandela, you know Mandela." I
Yeah.
said, "Sort of."
You've met him, right?
I have met him.
You
of
met
course,
him.
yeah.
All right. You see, I was in a room with him. That's the closest. I
Oh,
got.
okay.
All right. So big football matches.
So big football matches. Golf, of course, at Sun City. We'll
Yeah, big
update
golf
that.
challenge,
South
yeah.
Africa trying their best to lose, but they'll probably come home against Afghanistan. But I'm really worried about what's going to happen in the semi-finals if
Yeah.
we lose the toss. Australia bat first and could be problems. So
46 from 46 needed.
They should
against
do it.
Afghanistan.
They really should
They
do
should,
it.
but Afghanistan.
What it does do also is it messes up Pakistan's chances. Pakistan needs to beat England by about 300 runs.
Yeah.
So we'll look at that, the golf at Sun City. And we've got a quiz question tonight on the Derby, which is going to test listeners and memories, taking them back a number of years.
I
So
love those.
hopefully they know those.
Your promos for that show is spectacular with those quizzes. I love it.
Oh,
Mike.
super.
And
Thank
we're not mentioning Zebra against the Sharks. You can't get two worse rugby teams if you try it at the moment.
Yeah, we'll stay away from rugby for a while.
Top Sport is Top Sport, right?
Top Sport.
Top Sport, just from 7 o'clock this evening. Stay close.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen.
All right, so sport coming up later. And don't forget, I've also got a sports show tomorrow between 7 and 9, where we will be doing all of the same stuff, just not as well. We have a lot more fun. Correction. Nestum is in studio. We've got 5 minutes. I'm sure we're going to play one of your jams. We're going to take calls. Let's run through calls quickly. Ike is in the Northern Cape. Go ahead, Ike, quickly.
Yes, John, how are you, man?
I'm great. Go ahead, Ike.
Great showman.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, man, the Derby, man.
That's a big day, big day.
It's on, man. It's on, man. But, man, we're losing the spark, man. We need Nestam and Abashanti tomorrow in the stadium, man. Please, man.
Who do you, are you willing to put it? Are you willing to risk it, Nestum? Who do you support, Chiefs or Pirates?
No,
I'm
a
gonna
pirate.
You're
tell
Pirates,
you
right?
the honest truth.
Yeah.
Ha, baga juju baba. The spirit
Yeah,
never
bo.
does like
Yeah,
a
bo.
pirate.
Yeah, but John, man, you know what, man? Some of us, we stay far, man. Not in Cape, it's about 600 kilometers from Joburg.
Yeah.
When we come there, man, we need excitement, entertainment, man. That thing, that lackluster thing, man, it's gone, man.
Yeah, we don't want goalless draws anymore.
Please, man, we are not attending the funeral, man. We are attending, man, the soccer match, entertainment, man. We need Abashante there, we need us there, do them, man, Alaska, Trumpets, you name them, man.
The legends.
Legends, man. Hey.
We're on it, Ike. She's on it. You can see Nestum's getting ready. She's lining up the acts already. Let's go quickly to Magdalene in Bloemfontein. Hello, Magdalene.
Hi, John.
Go ahead.
Hi, Nestam.
Hello.
You are talking to Mema Cheu, who used to call you on the City FM Sunday morning from 5. Yes, girl.
Hi, man. How are you, girl?
Yeah, girl. Wherever you are.
You are following. Don't follow me. I'm married.
Hey, wherever you are doing if gently, if praise or gospel or whatever, you are gifted.
Oh, thank you.
So make it, girl.
Thank you very
make
much.
It. Don't hesitate. I like one thing with you.
Yes.
Your freedom.
Thank
the freedom that you got from Jesus Christ. That's the best freedom.
Thank
you don't depend on somebody. You depend on God.
Thank you.
Good luck, girl. I love you.
Magdalene, thank you very much. Quickly, what are you doing now? Where can we see you? DJ Nesty's in the house. What's happening?
As I've said, I'm still with Lesedi FM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an office administrator and I'm doing very well.
Nice.
And I'm a DJ, professional DJ. Facebook, Nestam Nyakale. And then Twitter is Zazi at 24/724 _ yeah, somewhere there.
Search for you, you'll find it.
Yeah, and then we have Instagram as well. It's Nestam _nasty. And then TikTok, I had one, but it's too much work, and I'm a businesswoman. I have a lot of things to do. TikTok it's a job by its own, Yeah, so as I've said, I'm a businesswoman. I'm a board member. I still perform. I do events as an MC. Make sure when you say you'll be co-hosting with me, make sure you know your story.
You get a challenge.
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah. No, make sure you know your story. So I'm great. Hey, I'm
Excellent.
well. I'm doing what I love.
Forget the people that were pretending to be your friends.
No, I don't have friends.
Nesta,
yeah.
we need to wrap it up. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
I didn't have to do anything for the last 20 minutes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
SAFM.
And wave to the camera. Say goodbye. Hello. You can stream us online. You can find us at YouTube. It's the end for now. We'll be back again on Monday on the streaming. So thank you very much. Parting shot today, we leave you with the words of Mike McManus, who once said, whatever you think you do well, do it. There's nothing better than feeling gratified. You agree?
Yes.
You agreed. We're not playing one of your jams. We're playing Sig and Giggy. Love is a Liar. Surprise has our credits. I will see you again soon. Thank you very much for letting me fill in.
Thank you for listening to BTH. Behind the mic, we had Jon Gericke today. Behind the sports, we had Tumi. Production, we had Lundi, Busani, Temba, and Sia. Please catch us again tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Good night.
Jon Gericke on SAFM.
I know that sometimes I'm lost, but you know that's the sweet cause of falling in love, of being in love. Don't be scared, it's alright. If you're confused and you feel like a fool, just listen right.